Hello. Oh. Oh my God. Oh boy. Where's the cat? I think he's upstairs. I'm still feeling a bit sick. Better than yesterday, but got a bit of a stuffy nose. I hate having stuffy nose. I got a new job at a pinto bean making place, just scooping beans up. Hot beans and place on conveyor belt. Oh, that sounds hilarious. Of all the jobs, why hasn't AI taken your job yet? What the fuck? That's super weird. Yeah, I'm probably gonna play RE Requiem. Like, why not?
All right, here we go. You know, I played the first few seconds of this, and I was thinking to myself that this shirt makes me look huge. It's like one of those Mark Plummer shirts. I suppose I should put Mark Plummer in here now, but you guys remember him. He's or the sort of shirts that Jay Cutler would wear, where it makes you look like you're as big as a fucking building. And then I was thinking about how people love alliteration. That's why you've got Brooklyn Bridge. People are likened to the Brooklyn Bridge. Uh, you know, loosely. And then there's also Barn Door Back. And for some reason, all I could think of was Green Monster. Unfortunately, that's not very, what would you call that? Alliterary? That's not very alliterary. Is that, I may have just made that word up. But, well, White Monster. That still kind of sucks, actually. Anyways, the chips are okay today.
Yeah, C4 is better than Monster. I don't think anything can top C4.
And then we got Bench Press.
Yeah, I think I've seen Unsolved Mysteries. Would you ever collab with Harris Sultan? I don't know who that is.
All right, so the idea until my back's fully healed and I can go back to overhead press. In the meantime, is just to do bench press 3 days a week, and so I'll do flat bench on Monday and Friday, and incline bench on Wednesday at Good Life, and we'll see what I can get to on that. Not that I'm going to be doing it that long, because overhead press is a lot better than doing incline bench press. I did 335 or 3 sets of 5. That was like my PR, but that was only I had only been doing incline bench for about 3 weeks at that point. My flat bench, this is a couple years ago, so it's not like I hadn't been.
Nah, Rain isn't as good as C4. C4's just got the best flavors, man. Like, Rain has some interesting stuff, but you can't beat, like, popsicle flavors. It's just better.
Training flat bench, and that was at Fit for Less, which there's a reason why they only charge you $8 a month.
Harris Sultan is an ex-Muslim from Pakistan. Maybe I'd collab with him. How much do you get your C4s for, like, per can? I just get them at the gas station. I think they're $4 each. It's kind of crazy.
because they have terrible equipment, hardly any equipment, and it's terrible. And then like they only have dumbbells that go up to 80, and then since it's just $8 a month, you think about it. I'm in Canada. Guess who the place is swarmed with? Fit for Less is a subsidiary of Good Life, and so it was where the old Good Life gym was before they upgraded. And so I was thinking I could have all of the
Ghost has raspberry cream. I haven't seen those flavors. I don't know if they're a US only kind of thing. But yeah, I haven't seen some of those flavors.
the space and the equipment of the old Good Life for $8 a month, and boy was I wrong. It's just one room, one smelly room, and so that's why I was.
What's a good cheap power rack? Probably Bells of Steel. Look up the Bells of Steel racks. You could probably find something affordable for you. Even Amazon actually has some good power racks. Like, they work. Just be careful with Amazon because you want to make sure that you're getting,
Good.
Alright, thank you for that, P. Appreciate the donation. Just make sure if you're buying a rack off Amazon, it's heavy enough.
React to this garbage, VG. It's all Ruiz.
I will. Don't worry. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Because basically what determines the strength of a power rack is going to be the pounds of steel, so... If it only weighs like 50 pounds or something, that's a good giveaway that it's garbage. Just look at the weight rating and look at the actual rate of the rack. The actual weight of the rack. But you can even get good power racks off Amazon.
Guys, Butchers over the Big Fiddle back with another video. And if you saw my post that I did yesterday, you know of what happened a few days ago, okay? I will not stand for that type of behavior, absolutely at all. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about here, I'll go all the way from the beginning. Now, before I actually say anything in this video, the fact that I even have to say this is sad, but I just have to say it because I know there's people out there. So let me say this. This is not a political video. Even though this is about a political situation and this was caused because of political stuff,
I haven't streamed on Twitch in like over 10 years. I'm only streaming on YouTube.
not be saying anything political. I will not be saying any side. I don't have a side.
What's your fantasy cheat meal? An extra sweet potato.
You guys say, oh, Chief, what's your side? I don't have a side. I don't need a side. I don't need a side for human decency. I don't need a side. So this video is not saying red, blue. No. It's not saying any of that in this video. And the second thing is, I do support cancellations. I do. You know why I do? Because the people, different opinions. From what I've seen and what I've researched, he hasn't killed anybody. Political violence. Well, there's tons of content in that game to keep you satisfied. I mean, I don't care about the guy.
Why in the hell did you send me this, Dodo? This guy's a jackass. What a stupid, stupid jackass. Dude, these small YouTubers suck. Like, they're actually dog shit garbage at making content. Just outrageously out of this world stupid. Have you ever tried a Japanese yam? Yes, I have. My favorite is Japanese purple sweet potatoes. Those actually taste like candy.
Only there for like 3 or 4 weeks, and thankfully the cancellation cost wasn't too much. All right.
You know, it's really weird. The purple sweet potatoes actually used to be more common, and then for whatever reason, the orange ones ended up becoming the like only fucking sweet potato here. But the purple ones are better for you, apparently.
I just finished my workout, and the anabolic window is shrinking, which means that I need to eat pronto. Okay, and
How much protein are you eating now? I'm getting a bit more than 1 gram per pound. I think it's probably like around 1.1 to 1.2 grams per pound. Something like that. Actually, maybe a bit less. I think I'm getting to around 230 to 250 per day. And I weigh 210 pounds.
Can't you read? I sent it to you because he is boycotting a video game because of that Charlie Kirk shooting.
What is a guy?
Yeah, he basically rambled incoherent nonsense and did not explain what the fuck he was talking about. And okay, if I don't know what the fuck Ghost of Yotai has to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination, but maybe he knows something I don't. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
see, one serving
Dude, Fruit Loops are literally fucking candy. It's kind of crazy.
of Fruit Loops is 39 grams, and Canada's food guide says that you need Canada's. Okay. It's like the American food guide, but more gay. That's how we do things here in Canada. Where's your national pride? Well, I don't know. If anyone has any national pride after COVID, then probably just an idiot. Okay, so
I think the most insane fucking cereal I've ever had was this Costco exclusive Simpsons donut cereal. It was for like a limited time only, and I think it coincided with the promotion of the movie. Holy mother of a fuck. That was so good. And I mean, and by good I mean like the most horrible food you can possibly eat, but it tasted so fucking good. They basically flavored them like those sugar sprinkled donuts. You know, like the plain donuts that are just covered in sugar and a bit of cinnamon? That's basically what it tasted like. It was fucking incredible. It wasn't like you can't even call it cereal. That was just candy. Like that makes Fruit Loops look like broccoli. But that was the most crazy ass cereal I've ever had in my life. That was so fucking loaded with sugar. And it literally did taste like those cinnamon sugar sprinkled donuts. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is also really bad. That one's insanely sugary. Frosted Flakes are also pretty goddamn sugary. I remember Apple Jacks. I don't know if they still make that, but Apple Jacks is also super fucking sugary. Tasted fucking good though.
oh, good. I can have it. I can the Canada's food guide is available in Michif and Ojibwe. The recommended daily intake of sugar is 100 grams, which is quite a bit for the average person. Alcohol. At least they raised the or lowered the sort of standard for what alcoholism is. I think it's 5 drinks a week. I think it used to be 7. And I remember there was this guy complaining about the taxes that they put on this guy in St. Catharines, which is near Niagara Falls. he's like missing one of his front teeth. He looks like a typical. He when he talks about it, he looks exactly like someone that would talk about these sorts of things. So yeah, apparently 65% of the cost of rum, for example, my friend told me this. 65% of the cost is tax, and this guy, like a lot of Canadians, are alcoholics, and so this guy from St. Catharines was just complaining. He's like 5 drinks a week. He's an alcoholic. You need 5 drinks just to get through the day. He's probably from the East Coast, which is all pikeys, basically. The people that are still there are just pikeys. I remember being 7 to 12
That is
servings
crazy.
of vegetable and fruit, and so fruit. So this is I'm probably gonna have 2 cups of this. So that's gonna be 2 servings of fruit. Okay. What do you're like? Oh, well, it's actually vegetables because it's got corn in it. All right, but it's also a fruit because it says it right there. So don't break my balls. Okay, I'm a little pissed off. I'm having some technical difficulties. They're working right now. This angle is fucking stupid, which is why it's fitting. All right. My fucking webcam was being a prick, and it was disconnecting, reconnecting. Okay, hopefully that's it for now. As long as the little cord doesn't move.
He is boycotting the game because he thinks it promotes violence, which he believes it is responsable for Charlie getting shot at that is moronic.
So what violent video games did Adolf Hitler play? It's fucking stupid. People are out of this world stupid. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
I think we're good. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is, you know how the English language has been destroyed. It's been under assault for years. Okay. All right. First of all, you've got the English people and what they did to it in the first place. Okay.
No, I'm drinking Yorkshire black tea.
All right. And then even now in England, it's totally fucked. All right. It's supposed to be the origin of the English language. And, well, I mean, it's
Yeah, dude, it's hilarious. The English can't even speak English.
not necessarily, it's mostly the invaders, okay? The thing that they say now is in it, which means, is it not? Or isn't it? They say in it. All right? And if that wasn't some hillbilly slang, then I don't know what is. If you watch some Charles Vaish videos, Charlie Vaish, I don't know what he prefers, probably Charlie, you're going to run into some of these fucking cretins that speak in UK Ebonics. The Cockney accent, which is the best, although it's a lower class accent.
I will tell you what game Hitler played. It's Tilted getting rejected from Art School Simulator.
That may have literally had something to do with it. It's pretty fucked up. If they had just let him into art school, none of that might have happened. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo. He actually wasn't a bad artist. I think some of the art teachers said his art was like very pedestrian, like plain, but he was actually a pretty decent artist. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
Or maybe middle class, although does that even exist in England? The accent's completely wiped out and gone. It's been now it's just an Arabic or a Paki accent, and then you have Wigger English, Stormzy speak. Jim Reaper kind of talks like that, and it's a fucking abomination. All right. I'm an anthropologist, not a linguist. Or so there's something that we're like kind of like the Metatron when he does, where it's the study of language. Okay. I assume there's some people that are experts in the
Would I ever go on the Jubilee Surrounded series? Yeah. Yeah, I'd do that.
history of the English
I'd make them all look fucking stupid. They're gonna be like, protein, vitamins, and then I'm like, yeah, so why are you such a weak little fucking bitch compared to me? That'd be funny. I don't know if they'd ever end up airing that episode if I was on.
language. And it's come a long way, but unfortunately, it's in a fucking nosedive, and then eventually we're going to be just doing some clicking noises, some sort of ooga booga language. And
Ooga
if
booga.
you're a left winger, you're probably thinking that's the best thing ever. I mean, we've even lowered the standards of it.
Yeah, I've tried matcha. Kind of tastes like crap. I guess if you add it to a smoothie, it's fine. I'm not big on green tea. Just flavors kind of shit. If it's like if matcha is sweetened and it's a more subtle flavor, then you know it's all right, but yeah, I'm just super into black tea. Black tea is the fucking shit.
But to such a degree that there's an acceptable version of it called Pidgin English, which is a sort of like if you're some sort of low IQ, third world brained buffoon, then it cuts out a lot of the what I suppose dummies would call nonsense, but would it cuts out the nuance. Okay.
BTW, why do all these morons blame video, movies, music, TV shows, etc. for shootings anyway? For the love of God, like it or not, humans are a whole species, like it or not. Why can't they see this?
There was more violence before video games. Like, people are just fucking stupid. So yeah, thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
And now Africans can have their own version of English that they can. It's like, well,
Nigga, why the fuck did you skip my donation earlier at the end of your stream? Scamming ass nigga. By the way, remember when you said you got a filter to censor out the N-word and other words? And that failed. Nice try, dipshit.
I think you know full well why I skipped your donation. You know. Thanks for the donation, though, 21st. You're a jackass. DJI Pro Mini. What is that?
Then why do they blame these things on vol video games, movies, TV shows, music, etc. then?
Probably because they're lazy and stupid. So dumb people can only really do surface level analyses. And they're also very bad with like confounding variables. So if there's like a multifactorial cause for something, they literally cannot process that. So, video games violent, people violent, video games cause violent. You know, that's just how they think. They're just stupid. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
It's easier, so that's for us. It's just like there's IQ tests. There's some that don't that are sort of non-culturally biased, which means that they're easier for dummies, for people from the third world to score higher. That, as far as my understanding goes, because IQ might be like some sort of oppressive thing that was invented by a white person. Who the hell knows? I assume people think something like that. But anyways, cope. I'm like almost as bad as Stefan Molyneux. Okay, how many minutes am I in? Almost 4 minutes. Okay, I'm not as bad as him. He would have taken 25. Cope. All right, and cope. It coincides with the black.
Watch from 44:10 till 45:20. That's incredibly lucky and impressive.
Let me see.
Commando Bardelli knows when he re-enters, the hijacker will be waiting for him.
Au moment où je remonte,
As I come back up, I use the top of the stairs for protection. I'm ready to fire because I know very well one of the terrorists could be there. And as I get to the top of the stairs, I'm staring down the barrel of his gun. He shoots at me. I fire back. And then I'm hit.
et là je suis touché.
My gun is torn out of my hand, and I fall backwards in a fire of sparks. While dragging two of my comrades in my fall, I slide down the whole stairs on my back.
Moi, mes deux camarades, donc tout le long de passerelle, je descends toute la passerelle sur le dos.
The last hijacker is dead.
Well, good thing the guy only shot his gun. Thanks for the donation, 6.
Black pill, all right, and especially in this context, which has to do with the gym.
I have watched Yu Yu Hakusho, but I haven't watched the entire series yet.
And how much the main reason why most people went into the gym, and I've gone over this many times, is to get muscle. Okay, and I didn't want to get muscle for girls because when I first saw the Predator, I was like, I didn't give a shit about girls. I wanted to be fucking huge and strong. And
Sent late Dono missed after last stream. Can you replay? Leftist West is becoming UK and Sweden. If freedom is expensive, I'm willing to pay the price and bite the bullet on other issues. Secular greater than Christ, greater than Islam.
I think we've literally watched this already. Maybe not. Yeah, we can react to that. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Death to America and the burning of US flags, we usually think of these as scenes from protests in the Muslim world. This is happening inside America too. There is a lot to say about the Islamization of the US. You will see videos of extreme speeches. I will show you documents. But let's start with the end of the story, because this process, which began decades ago, is already bearing fruits today. Watch this clip.
We're done hiding. We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is no God worthy.
You know, Trump had the right idea of banning these people from entering the country.
be worshipped except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
There are a few things to notice.
Kenny donated $2. It's hilarious to me that we can buy fucking semi-automatic shotguns and giant high-powered lever-action Magnum rifles, but they banned little 9mm Glocks and Vectors. Hope with the new castle law, we get our guns back very soon. The liberal government is pretty much dead set on maintaining the handgun freeze, and they still haven't been able to ban assault weapons. Like, they said they're going to do the buyback program, but it's literally logistically impossible. So we're going to have to wait for the next election. Then hopefully people vote conservative. But yeah, the liberals are the most gay fucking retard dumbasses. It's just what they do. They just want to micromanage your fucking life for no reason, and they do literally nothing. But yeah, it's fucking stupid. Thanks for the donation, Kenny.
Is here. First, this isn't Arabic being shouted in some small mosque in Wisconsin. This is fluent English, spoken by someone who grew up in America, in the middle of New York City, in front of thousands of people. It is not hidden, and we will get to the hidden part soon. Second, he is angry. That's not a good starting point. He's angry and feels wronged, and he's not asking to fix anything. He's demanding to dominate, to bring Islam into every American home. Anyone familiar with Islamic principles know the world is divided into two. Dar el-Islam, the places already under Islamic rule, and Dar.
How could SJWS support any of this?
Well, they're communist fascists. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
El-Harb, the land of war, the parts of the world that must be conquered. He begins by saying Muslims are victims, oppressed. And I ask myself, where exactly are Muslims oppressed in America? Are they jailed for being Muslims? Forbidden to pray? From what I see, Muslims enjoy the most freedom in the West, in America, Canada, England, France. And the places where Muslims are most persecuted, where the most Muslims are killed for political or religious reasons, are Muslim countries. In the past decade alone, about 1.5 million Muslims have been killed by other Muslims.
Yeah, these dumb fucks flee their home country because radical Islam made it suck. And then they come here and then they try to spread radical Islam. It's like it's their life goal to make life shitty for fucking everybody everywhere.
Muslims in Yemen, Syria, Libya. Maybe it is just my Jewish logic, but if you come to America as a refugee or immigrant, I would say, thank you, America, for the freedom you give me. And if I were Muslim and wanted to live under Sharia law, I would move to those wonderful countries that enforce it. Iran, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Mauritania. You could say I'm drawing too much from one clip. So let's see a few more.
Is defeating the US, defeating Israel means defeating Canada. This settlement will exist on the basis of the indigenous people and the black people. Defeating Israel means defeating this colonial institution.
We have to destroy the idea of America in our heads, in our neighbors' heads, in our comrades' heads, in everybody's heads in this country.
We do not want to melt into American society and disappear. We want to go into American society with Islamic ideals and revamp their thinking. We want to revamp them. We want to turn them into Muslim individuals.
We've been asked in the past, why are our protests on the International Day of Quds, why are they so anti-America? Why don't we just focus more on Israel and not talk so much about America? Gaza has shown the entire world why these protests are so anti-America.
Then again, Palestinians hate America and so do SJWS, so I might as well not be surprised.
Yeah. You shouldn't be surprised. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Dodo donate $2. Trump appoints the most incompetent people imaginable. Yeah, Kash Patel is just fucking insane.
Written note, was there? Did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say? If you could.
So what I'm able to say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is I addressed it partially earlier. Is that the written note we believe what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
So the written note, did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say, if you could
So
share
what I'm
that
able
with
to
us?
say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is, I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned.
This is a very strange way of saying he wrote a note but destroyed it later.
That the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Like again, it just sounds like he's lying, because a sensible person would say he wrote a note, he later destroyed it before the shooting, but we interviewed his roommate and the roommate told us what was in the note. Why wouldn't he have just said that? But instead, our aggressive interview posture, like they're fucking retarded. Desperate Cash Patel asked Shooter's family if they can solve any other cases.
Finally, I'll pay the difference, sorry. Finally, I just want to say, finally, go Birds, and free Palestine. Thank you.
Yeah, Hollywood. Can Trump use the Charlie Kirk death to investigate Code Pink? I don't think so. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
BTW, if SJWs hate this country so much, why don't they just move to China that they love so much already?
Well, they're all talk. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Because it's the United States government that provides the funds for all of the atrocities that we just heard about. And this is why Imam Khomeini, who declared the International Day of Quds, this is why he would say to pour all of your chants and all of your shouts upon the head of America. Malcolm X said, and I quote, "We live in one of the rottenest countries that has ever existed on this earth. It's not Genocide Joe that has to go. It's the entire system that has to go."
Before the really strong clips, let me explain something. Quds Day is Jerusalem Day, created by Ayatollah Khomeini, the leader of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. Under his rule, do you know how many Iranians, how many Muslims he executed for political reasons? The lowest estimates, 20,000. Higher estimates, 40,000. And Khomeini fought Saddam Hussein. That war killed about 1 million Muslims. Yet somehow, those who blame Israel and America forget that the ones who have killed the most Muslims are Muslim rulers themselves. I will show you more clips.
BTW.
Amma Smith, peace, praises Hannah Einbinder's Free Palestine Emmy's message, but censors her bare shoulders. Oh my god. If that doesn't tell you their values do not in any way align, I don't know what would. Like, dude. That's hilarious. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
But here is a thought I have as an Israeli and a Jew. Imagine if a rabbi stood in the center of New York and shouted in front of hundreds of Jews, "America is rotten. We will bring Judaism into every American home." If that happened, Tucker Carlson would talk about it for years. Candace Owens would drop the existential question of whether Macron's wife wore pants or a dress when she was 5-year-old and make a whole documentary about it. Every commentator in America would be on it. But it is not the Jews who want to take over. In my last video, I even talked about the fact that Jews pray for the success of the countries they are in every Saturday. Let's see who wants to take over the world.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised this ummah in this Quran that the ummah will inherit this earth. That the ummah will rule over this earth, not just part of the earth. We have no doubt that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will deliver His promise and grant us the khilafah upon the prophethood, the method of the prophethood method. Under its leadership, Rome will be opened, Kashmir will be liberated, India will be liberated, Palestine will be liberated, Al-Andalus. Sometimes we forget about Al-Andalus. Al-Andalus, which is known as Spain, that land is ours for 800 years, and it's under occupation such as Kashmir, such as Palestine.
إن الساسة الذين يسألون اليوم ماذا بعد اليوم التالي في غزة نسوا أن يسألوا أنفسهم ماذا بعد اليوم التالي في أمريكا ليس في غزة فقط. ولعل هذا الحديث يحمل دلالة واضحة أن الخلاف على منهاج النبوة القادم ستقود إلى نشر الإسلام، وسيدخل الإسلام في كل بيت في كل الأرض في كل قاراتها بدون استثناء، بما في ذلك في كل بيت في أمريكا.
Our job is to change the constitution of America.
الفتح بالدعوة هذا ما نأمله إن شاء الله. سنفتح أوروبا وسنفتح أمريكا لا بالسيف ولكن بالدعوة.
One word you keep hearing is dawah. This means spreading Islam into non-Muslim areas, not by war, but through charity groups, community organizations, student unions, mosques, and local and national politics. Listen to these two.
It's very difficult to find any place in the world now that is ruled by someone who is ruling by divine authority. You look at postmodernity, there is one religion that is absolutely equipped from the ground up to engage the speed of a technocratic world. It is the dynamic, pluralistic, empowering Islam of the Prophet's era.
Today, we have 43 state delegates in the United States who are Muslim. If they want to run for Congress, we may end up with about 50 members of Congress in the next 6 years. That's really the essence of dismantling the system of injustice, is to replace it with the people who represent the Prophet ﷺ.
When you watch these clips, and I will show you more later, you see clear patterns.
Satem Hyde has gone fully insane and is now grifting as a serious person.
This is you. This is your sister, your wife, your daughter. But this right here is you. This is your sister, your wife, your daughter. Sister is raped. When your children are castrated, brainwashed to hate you. This is their ecstasy when the floor of the subway car is awash in your blood. This clown world where you're convinced not to start a family,
Whatever. Thanks for the donation, dude. I'm not watching an hour-long video of Sam Hyde rambling. Vegan Irishman, donate $2. Europe is taking back their countries from Islam. Hurrah. Well, yeah, I mean, that doesn't really mean much. I mean, Poland, there's nothing to take back. They just flat out have refused to let in any fucking darkies. But, yeah, these other countries, not so much. Well, even the indigenous are the whole Islamic shit. Yeah, I've seen that. Somebody sent me that clip yesterday. Thanks for the donation, Vegan Irishman.
It would take the threat of a jihadist Islamic empire in order to ever unite China and Russia with the West and USA, much like how the Nazis united the USSR and the West in World War II.
Well, China doesn't really have a Muslim problem. They just kill them all or put them in prison. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
It doesn't matter when they were filmed. During the Gaza war, before it, under Biden, Trump, or Bush, the message stays the same. The goal of a global Islamic Caliphate, conquering Palestine, Rome, Spain, India, and America, bringing Islam into every home, framing the fight against Israel and the Jews as part of a worldwide struggle, seeing the West as evil to be defeated not from the outside, but from within. And they all use the same words. That's not a coincidence. They are following a plan, the plan of the Muslim Brotherhood. Founded in Egypt in 1928, their motto, Islam is the solution. Another slogan, Allah is our objective, Muhammad is our leader, the Quran is our constitution, Jihad is our way.
Well, yeah, Muslims are fucking crazy. We all know that, though.
So that's the best way. That's the real reason to get into weightlifting. It's to embrace toxic masculinity, as one of the viewers frequently does on Instagram. There's this guy. He finds these twink lifters, and they're also twink / science based. They're kind of one and the same now. And he said that the one guy looked like he was getting ready for a Diddy party. So, anyways, this guy's channel here is called PB Fitness, and he's an Asian feller. I gotta move this thing back over. It helps me think. Although I guess you probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I saw the Crawford Canelo fight. A fired donator should he have been fired over this, or was this based? Apologizes for suggesting involuntary lethal injection for mentally ill homeless. Yeah, he should have been fired. Thanks for the donation. Dodo donators really well. Look like China did something right for once, and now so did Texas.
Governor Abbott traveled to McKinney to sign a new law limiting property developments from excluding residents based on religion. Maria Guerrero has details on the governor's visit and the reaction from the Muslim community.
The ban on Sharia law in Texas is now strengthened.
The ceremonial signing met with cheers in McKinney. Governor Abbott, flanked by lawmakers who pushed through HB 4211 in response, they say, to Epic City, a Muslim-centric community planned on the edge of Collin County, accused of housing discrimination.
This law prevents them from creating no-go zones. It prevents them from selling or renting land only to people who follow Islam.
Yeah, good. They shouldn't have even been allowed in the country to begin with, but good. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Dodo Donatiller is not what I'm saying is imagine a state 10 times the size of ISIS takes over large swaths of the Middle East and becomes formidable force, perhaps with nuclear weapons, and going to war and successfully invading more that would finally unite the West and China. Well, that's never going to happen because, one, Muslims hate each other, so they're just going to kill each other first. And, two, Muslim armies are completely dog shit and useless and they can't do anything. So they're never going to be a threat to anybody. They just get blowed up. Thanks for the donation there, Dodo.
You probably wouldn't think that by if you've gotten this far. You're like, is this guy going to get to the point? What the hell is he babbling about? I'm working on it. Okay, I'm going to keep myself small there for a little bit longer. To me, the sort of black pill when it comes to looks is sort of like free will versus determinism. And black pill would be a deterministic thing, which is where you sort of inspire people to give up in life. And to me, that is sort of like such a sad fucking existence. I'm a heavy free will advocate. Okay, I suppose you could say it. That's about as well as I can put it right now. Determinism to me takes all the fun out of life, and it's like someone reminding you. Let's say you just did something, you just won a gold medal. They're like, well, I mean. You could go to the point where people say it's like preordained, okay, or it's like, oh well, of course you won a gold medal, okay, of course that's the way it's supposed to be. Oh, it's your genetics. It has nothing to do with your work. It's just they sap all of your blood, sweat, and tears. They're like, no, that's not yours. That's like an accident of nature. Or you could go into like the supernatural realm and say that it's destiny. Well, anyways, let's check this out. Is the gym hope or cope? And I'm definitely more on the hope side. But I understand, like, you know, back when I got into football in grade 8, okay, I thought I was going to be in the NFL. Genuinely, okay? That's like a retarded level of hope, okay? Because I could take all the steroids in the world and I'd still be an uncoordinated, slow running Mameluke. All right, but I'd be over on this side. Maybe I could be in the XFL. Probably not, but yeah, probably I could have been an O-lineman or quarterback. All right, so I'm a Canadian kid from a small town. Think I'm going to be in the NFL. Okay, I could have been the next Doug Flutie. In my mind, although I didn't play quarterback, I should have. All right, because isn't the best looking guy in the team supposed to be the quarterback by default? That's no wonder. I was fucking sabotaged. Okay, now I'm starting to cook. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Gym doesn't matter. I mean, if you're some sort of
the Taliban are not a strong fighting force. They're fucking inbred retards. They lost like every fucking battle they've ever had against the United States. And they basically just hid in the mountains until the US pulled out. So, no. Dodo donates $2. Well, if you have isolationists like JD and Trump in the White House and an ineffective weak Europe and China to focus on Taiwan, if jihadists first took over Pakistan, then Iran, Afghanistan, so on the problem finally becomes too big to ignore and West and East unite. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Like subterranean Asian, what do they call this? A dwemer? Not a dwemer. Like some sort of thing from that movie, The Descent, but also looking Oriental. I mean, it's not a good start. You have Dobby ears.
Before we get into it, let's just.
Oh man, this guy's really quiet.
Cope or not? And before we get into it, let's just talk about the actual argument that people have when they say that the gym is cope. And the common argument is that if you are like this guy on the left, where you have a really deformed face and you have a really poor frame,
he's just an Asian. Stop breaking his balls.
And on the other hand,
by the way, the guy makes this channel where he's talking about telling you how to get strong, how to like what to focus on if you want to maximize your attractiveness. Okay, while by using the gym and a little bit of nutritional stuff. He's never shown himself, to my knowledge. He also has a private Discord server that you can join. I think it's $9 a month. All right, that's cheaper than my YouTube membership. All right, look at my arm. Some guy asked me what my arm measurements are, and actually I'm surprised. Maybe I don't know. I didn't measure it wrong. I'm not like Ernest Gasparini. So he asked me what my forearm measurement was. 16.5. Okay, and I measured around the the fat point right there.
That's my 16.5. Not sure what I'm at. Yeah, I mean, he has pretty big forearms. Mine are at about 14. 21st only tillers, do we have to watch this ugly ass balding Neanderthal? Holy shit, he's fucking ugly. Let's not watch this. Watch different content, dipshit. He gets no views for a reason. His content is boring and shit, and he's ugly beyond belief. Change video.
You gotta. And then my wrist measurement's a little over 8. All right, so basically I have got a little bit of gigantism. All right. That was the thing I was thinking. Shit, they'll come back to me.
You are true Adam.
True Adam.
For super wide frame or something like that, then the gym doesn't matter either. And because of that, the gym doesn't matter because it's all cope. Hopefully you can see the flaw with this argument, right? Because obviously, yes, it's true. If you're in the bottom, like 1% of genetics, where you just have, I don't want to say subhuman, but you just have a really poor.
If you're like the Cyrax guy, what time is it? Okay, I'll put him in here. If you haven't seen Cyrax, he is a sight to behold. If you want to lose your appetite.
Frame and skeletal structures and genetics in general, then yeah, in the bottom 1%. The gym doesn't really matter because it's not going to help you that much. And likewise, if you are in the top 1%.
Cyrax is one hell of an entertaining guy. Well, I mean, if you do like a 10, 15-minute listen to him, it's kind of funny because he just yells like a pro wrestler. And there is a clip of him shitting his pants, which is really funny.
And where you have no super good-looking face or super tall and you have a wide frame, then yeah, the gym doesn't really matter if you're in the top 1%.
Yeah, but I do it anyways.
But for everyone else in the middle, right, for like the 98.
This is you guys.
Like 95, you want to be more.
You guys are all up here, though.
The 98% of people, everyone else, the gym is going to benefit you
no cap.
quite a bit, right? It's going to help you become more attractive substantially. And I would also say, right, if you want to talk about, being a frame cell or a framelit, is that
oh god, these fucking terms, please, man, please, you need to put some of your Asian perfectionism into language.
How good or bad your frame is, right? Because on the left-hand side, where you have these pictures of frames.
I'm really glad I don't have a fucking build like this. This guy right here, he just needs to do deadlifts. He looks like he's doing one now, but this is just obviously something for the camera because the chalk's over here. The chalk should be where his hands are, and so this is the only time he's doing something that resembles a deadlift. That's a problem. You're like, how does deadlift grow your neck? I don't know how, but it does. This right here, I went to high school with a guy like this, and I worked at A&W with him later. Total dipshit.
Cells, right? If you want to call them that, we're just guys with not so good skeletal structures, and you can see how they have, they're developing their physique, they have muscle, but they don't look that good, right? And this is the picture that people often use when they try and explain why the gym is cope if you have a bad frame. So these are frame cells. But on the other hand, if you look at these pictures, you also have guys with not so good skeletal structures, right? Who you may also call frame cells, but then they're making all these transformations.
I've got a slight frame cellism with my arms.
Oh my fucking god! What is your fucking problem, dude? It's almost fucking midnight. What are you doing? Get off! Get off! There's nothing to do. Why are you doing that?
I mean, they're way bigger than your arms. But and I think I'm the only person who's commented on them, and so maybe not. But compared to like my back or my legs,
the legs don't really get showed off too much because my body's fucked. Okay, I store fat like a woman, kind of. Okay, because I'll have striations on like even now. Okay, I've been off cycle for how many days? It's been like 4 days. 4 days. Here we go. 4 days. Still on TRT, but I mean TRT is natural these days. Off cycle 4 days. I have striations on the outside of my leg. On the inside, my legs are fat.
Because the truth is, you don't actually know how good or bad your frame is, right? Or at least you don't have a completely accurate judgment, right? If you look at the before picture for a lot of these guys, you would just tell them, hey, it's over, right? You're going to look like this. You're never going to develop a good physique, and the gym is just a waste of time.
This guy right here, this is still bad because he doesn't do deadlifts. You can tell by how small his midsection is. You're like, oh, I don't want to go to big midsection. That's going to throw off my V. I don't want an X frame. I want a Y build.
But then you see their transformation, and it's like they make all.
And this guy right here, this guy right here still isn't 200 pounds. If someone's under 200 pounds, I don't give a fucking shit what you have to say.
These amazing transformations.
Unless you're 5'1", and then I'll be like, what the hell happened here? Can I have your autograph?
Even though they don't have the best frame. And I'll tell you my own story as well, right? Because I used to think I was a frame cell as well because I have a slightly below average.
I'm a funny thing because I'm a. I think it's made it seem. I mean, the on and off part doesn't help, but I'm pretty sure the alcohol.
Why in the fuck is he doing that? Oh my god.
Lism, okay. I'm pretty sure that is because even if you drink 3 beers a week. All right, you're fucking yourself up so bad. It turns off mTOR, a little bit of alcohol, because alcohol is poison. Your body has to go into fucking damage mitigation mode. And it's like, we need to stop growing. We need to take care of this fucking acetaldehyde, okay? Anyways, yeah, it's made it seem like he has the worst genetics ever. I mean, they're not the best because his brothers they didn't abuse alcohol, and they're not strong or fast, but...
On Edwards, right? If you have narrow clavicles, but you still have a very small waist, then there's still hope.
Jasmine Crockett.
I thought Destiny did a thing on Pierce. Where did it go? Was that taken down? What the fuck?
She will never. Jasmine Crockett or Mac.
Women are permanent prey.
Maxine Waters or Chuck Schumer, AOC or Bernie Sanders, all of these bastards call us fascists with a straight face. This isn't New Testament, turn the other cheek time. This is Old Testament.
You see, this brother right here says, well, all leftists want to see me dead. Well, I'm a leftist. I don't want to see you dead. Okay. I'm a Christian.
You call Trump's administration a neo-fascist movement, you lunatic.
And look at him laughing now.
We're now seeing all the fallout from this. What is, Kasperin, what was your immediate reaction when you heard about what had happened to Charlie Kirk and presumably at some stage saw the video?
Well, it started with absolute shock, followed by despair, followed by fear of what this means for the country and how things could potentially and very likely devolve further. You know, Charlie and I had multiple debates and conversations, and what I really appreciated about Charlie, and I've said this multiple times, was that even though we had disagreements, he had a huge platform and was inviting to people like me to make my case to a completely different audience about my point of view, why I believe things that I believe, and that's what is supposed to make America great. The ability to live in a pluralistic society where people have differences of opinion but can engage with one another in good faith and make their case. You know, I was recently on Tucker Carlson's show for a pretty lengthy interview, and after that interview ended, Tucker Carlson let me know that Charlie Kirk reached out to him and said that he loved the interview and would like to have me on his show. That's the kind of person Charlie Kirk was. Now, that's not to take away from the things that I vehemently disagreed with him on, but engaging in violence is an act of cowardice. It's what losers do. It's what people who are unable to articulate their arguments effectively resort to. That's my take on what happened to Charlie Kirk. And I have to say, the video of him getting killed was one of the most disgusting, horrific things I've seen, and I can't get that image out of my mind. It's seared in my mind.
But what is, I mean, thank you for saying what you just said. Very clear. What has been truly shocking to me, not just the murder itself, which was obviously just horrific, as was the video. And I agree, it's very hard to ever lose that image of what happened. But the reaction from young people in particular on the left, I have to say, I have found absolutely sickening. The glee, the celebration, the TikToks, the general, the behavior of this rap band, Bob Dylan, And then the lying about the fact they were clearly celebrating in the most despicable manner what had happened to Charlie Kirk. You know, I've got no problem with people appraising Charlie Kirk's record and criticizing him where they feel he was wrong about stuff. That's fine. That happens to every public figure when they die. But to gleefully celebrate the cold-blooded execution of a 31-year-old father of two, I just found crossed every line of humanity. And I guess, Anna, you know, a lot of these young people, you've met a lot of these young people on the left. What is going on with young people on the left? And I'm not for a moment saying there aren't young people on the right that have similar mindsets about their opponents. But what is going on with these young people on the woke left who genuinely look at that and think this is something to celebrate? Hello and welcome. We'll be giving some breaking news. Woke is dead. The war under the majority woke, as well as my personal, and we're
different factions on the left. And I think the way that this is kind of being discussed in a way that just kind of generalizes everyone on the left is kind of unfair. But putting that aside, I do think that we have an overall problem. I think what happened is a symptom of a bigger issue that we have, not just in this country, but I'm seeing it happen globally, where there's just this dehumanization of people based on their political views. And on top of that, the devaluing of human life, right? I mean, we've been seeing images of people being butchered, children being butchered endlessly on social media over the last nearly 2 years. Prior to that, I mean, the rhetoric that devalues human life, I think, has played a role into it. But also, I just think that there's this dumb idea that all you need to do is like get rid of or take out some of the prominent figures on the political side of the aisle that you disagree with, and that'll somehow solve the issue. No, that doesn't solve the issue. What it does is it makes the situation in various countries where this type of political violence plays out far worse. Now you're hearing talk of retaliation in a violent way. When it comes to the Trump administration, you're hearing policies that are being proposed that would limit the legitimate political speech of Americans. I am concerned about that. What that disgusting murderer did is he pushed for this country to devolve further. And I wish that cooler heads would prevail, but at the same time, I don't begrudge people who are angry. I mean, that poor wife and her 2 children witnessed Charlie Kirk get shot and killed in the neck. I don't begrudge her at all for being furious. I can't even...
21st donated $2.
All right, friends, it's Timon, and we're going to react to Vegan Gains or Vegan Slaves video that... Don't know too much about any chickens or eggs running around in nature, but okay.
Think of fruits and vegetables.
I view it as eating foods that are in your...
So he thinks about fruits and vegetables. You mean the engineered ones, a vegan slave? You mean the ones that man...
Again, the Garden of Eden. Yes, gardens are engineered. Like, this guy is so fucking retarded.
Is fucking...
So again, this guy said we should eat as God intended. Well, if you read the Bible, humanity was supposed to live in the Garden of Eden. What is a garden? A garden is a cultivated, engineered piece of land with plants that have been, you know, bred over generations to be a certain way. Like, oh my god, this guy's so stupid.
Right.
Vegan Gains admitted to starting gear. I don't know what he means by admitted. I told everyone when I was taking steroids.
And rest back over to the point. Fitness influencers, like, but almost none of them are actually going to be natty. It's just silly to think they are. It's bad business. But
the biggest fitness influencers on YouTube are natural.
Got a lot going on, though. I did run this morning. I did put up... It'll take a moment for people to get into these and get questions. Really high volume stuff that people are putting out, even there.
Okay, that's just a waste of time debate.
Take the sum of all the people he's debunked on veganism. That's him on Israel Palestine.
Yeah, I have no interest in debating this guy. He's just a delusional fucking whack job. Like, look, if you can't agree to accept, like, simple basic facts about a given situation, like, there's no point. It's a waste of fucking time. Thanks for the donation, though, dude.
Engineering? Or are you talking about the ones that are found in nature? Well, how are they tasting to you? How do they taste? What do they look like and taste exactly?
Local environment, obviously raised the proper way. So finding 100% grass-fed beef in your local area, finding local seafood.
I love how on the label it literally says not for human consumption.
I love this. I love how on the label it says not for human consumption. Well, labels, they don't exist in nature. But of course, this guy, he reads the label. It says not for human consumption. Why do they do that? Because they've made things that are natural, raw, natural, illegal, right?
Okay, well, why don't you go eat some poison ivy? Fucking idiot.
See what I mean? But drugs like sugar, which is a drug, and alcohol, which is made from plants.
So sugar's a drug. Okay, so your own body produces drugs. Not sure if you're aware of this, but you need to have a certain amount of sugar in your blood, glucose, or you'll die. Pump yourself full of insulin. Watch what happens. You'll go into a fucking coma and die because you'll have 0 blood sugar. So I guess your body runs on drugs. Your body produces drugs, like...
And these other vegetables and shit that are toxic, right? They're full of drugs too, and they're toxic. They even use them in, what is it? They use...
Vegetables are toxic, so... Animals eat toxic vegetables, and then you eat the animals that are consuming the toxic vegetables. So are you getting secondhand poisoning from eating meat?
Use them in the pharmacy as drugs. They use them for chemotherapy. Fuck, they use a lot of the shit that you find in your vegetables for as chemotherapy in drugs at the drugstore. So you're fucking getting a shot of chemotherapy every time you eat that crap.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but it literally...
Like, by the way, there are drugs and medications that are actually animal-based or derived from animals. I'm pretty sure up until recently, they would treat hemophiliac patients with, like... They genetically modify guinea pigs to produce, like, some protein or something. It's really weird. So, okay, I guess you shouldn't eat meat anymore, because hemophiliac patients need injections that are made from, you know, proteins made by guinea pigs.
It says not for human consumption on these...
And so what about it? So if I took a marker and I put not for human consumption, what is that supposed to mean? Does that mean anything exactly, or what?
Jugs of milk.
Dude, finding raw milk from
Yeah, I mean, somebody smarter than you figured out you shouldn't eat that.
cows in your area that are treated properly.
So, God intended us to drink milk as adults from another species.
Yeah. Nature intended us to drink raw, natural milk from other species, yes.
Okay, I think that's enough.
I can't even imagine where my headspace would be at right now if that happened to my husband.
Right. Andrew Wilson, where were you when you heard about Charlie Kirk, and what is your view of the fallout from this?
Yeah, I was sitting with my wife watching TV. So the thing is I remember this picture circulating around of Charlie Kirk. He was debating the incoming president of the Oxford Union, and they were all smiles and handshakes. And you know, by the next day, this guy was saying the most insane rhetoric about how he basically had it coming. So how many of these leftists have murderous intent? When we show up to have a conversation with them. We show up to debate our views. We show up to in some way engage with them. How many of them have CV?
Yeah, I increased my training volume a little bit after going on steroids.
Murderous intent behind their eyes, and they don't really want to do any of that. They really want you dead. And that is the biggest demonstration of that, by the way, in that one single picture. You have Anna Kasparian here, and she's talking about this. The Young Turks called Charlie Kirk a fascist how many times? The Young Turks played into this rhetoric how much? They went out of their way to do so. Ruben recently called him out for doing it. So
I've never called him a fascist.
Hang on.
I've literally never. I don't even call Trump a fascist.
I didn't interrupt you once, lady.
But
You'll
you
have a
can't
chance
make
to
things
talk.
Dodo 22 layers wise blaha moving up and down in his stream about you. Does he have Parkinson's disease? He does that whenever he's nervous. Also, I love the comment saying Vegan Gains admitted to always being on steroids when that's not true. Also, blaha. Looks so unhealthy. Does he skip workouts? Why does he look so bad? Well, he's not lived the most healthy lifestyle. He's been morbidly obese, an alcoholic. He's also abused steroids for a period of time. He just eats like shit in general, so... He also clearly does not have the best genes. He's kind of defective. So, yeah, all those things combined, you know. Like, what's bizarre, too, is I've said this publicly. I started taking steroids August 1st. So, if I've always been on steroids, why did I only just suddenly gain 10 pounds? And I look way bigger and I've gotten stronger suddenly? So if I've always been taking them, why did I just suddenly get bigger and stronger? So, yeah, these people are just fucking stupid coping losers. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Up about what I've said about
You
Charlie
can talk
Kirk.
when I'm done talking, like I was respectful enough to let you do. So the thing is like, yes, they do. This network does do that, and these leftists do that. And they set all the rhetoric up in the world to make sure something like this happened, and they were dancing on the grave of this guy before he was even cold. I have tweets from Destiny which are insane. The leftists have gone off the reservation, and it's time for us to stop pretending that it's not their rhetoric which is leading to these types of assassinations, because it is. I don't want to hear about factions. All of you guys are doing this. All of you guys have the same type of rhetoric which leads to this, or the networks you work for do.
Well, Anna, let me let you respond to that before I bring Cornell.
I have never called Charlie Kirk a fascist, number one. In fact, if anything, we have received a tremendous amount. I don't remember I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. In fact, Cenk and I got into a debate about whether or not, hold on. I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. He called Trump a fascist, and he and I got into a debate about that. But to lump in everyone on the left together, I don't agree with Destiny on anything these days. Destiny is totally unhinged in his rhetoric, 100%. I have been critical of Charlie Kirk's political views, but going around referring to people as Nazis, you know, turning the temperature up, I did not engage in that. So I just want you to at least be fair about what I've actually said about Charlie
There's no
Kirk.
actual reason for us to believe leftists at this point. It's very clear that while they come out with a handshake and wanting to have these conversations, they claim, right? In reality, what they're doing is they have murderous intent, and they'll celebrate you the day that you die. The next day, they'll go after your wife. Thousands of social media accounts going after her wife, or this guy's wife, after she made a speech about her poor husband. Yes, it is your side that's doing that. Like it or not, it's your side that's doing that. There's no equivalency between the right and the left on this. Yeah, okay, fine. You're not a leftist. I'm sorry. Are you on the left wing? Are you a Democrat? Are you more of a Democrat than you are a Republican? Do you move towards those types of issues?
I'm not a Democrat. I actually registered as an independent.
Fine. You register as an independent.
Come on, you gotta at least know what my views are if you're gonna attack me.
All right.
We know she's a lefty. Like, she's actually denying that she's politically left?
Let me bring in. All right, let me bring in.
I've been attacked by the left over the last 3 years.
All right, let me bring in.
No. I've been attacked by the left. No. Let me just at least address that. I've been attacked viciously.
Yes, the left attacks the left. That has nothing to do with you not being left wing. Like it's just, that is a constant problem within the left wing. They have, so this has to do with communism. There's communist infiltration into the left wing, and what these communists do is they constantly purity test each other. So yeah, you're gonna get left wing communists just a second. You're going to get left-wing communists attacking people who don't pass their political purity test. That doesn't mean you're not a lefty or left-wing.
Viciously by leftists over the last 3 years because of the fact that I want to engage in this type of dialogue, because of the fact I was willing to sit down with Charlie Kirk and with Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro. I'm willing to have conversations, and I don't go around labeling people as fascists and racists and Nazis just because I disagree with them.
Just the organization you work for does?
She's a fucking Nazi. She supports fucking Palestine.
Understand what my political views are? Listen, I'm not going to be blamed for what everyone in that company has to say. Anyone in that company has to say.
Was it a... Didn't her and Cenk literally do an episode where they promoted that 9/11 conspiracy theory? That the Jews were responsible for 9/11? So, like, she's a fucking Nazi. Like, super fucking anti-Semitic.
Head of that company?
We are supposed to judge people based on individuals. He did not go around calling Charlie Kirk.
Could you react to this one next?
She will.
Isn't that, like, literally the same one? Yeah, isn't that literally the same video? That happens later in this. I'm pretty sure that's the same video. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben Boy.
I'm judging you and saying that you don't have good reasoning skills. If it's the case that you think, oh my God, you can't be calling people Nazis. You can't be calling people Nazis while your boss does all the time.
Why are you making that up? You're just making it up. You're just making it up. We're all the same. That's how simple-minded you are. You're all the same. Okay, then everyone on the right is just like Dylan Roof.
All right, let me bring in. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell. He's been waiting. Please let Cornell come in now. He's been waiting very patiently. Cornell, welcome back to Uncensored, where things are getting incendiary quite quickly. I think the overriding point I would make about the debate we've just been hearing between Andrew and Anna is that there is little doubt to me that the constant rhetoric on the left, the woke left, let me be specific to where I think a lot of the blame lies, ever since Donald Trump came into power in 2016.
Kid Beard $22, you're not going to have time to watch this on stream, but I highly recommend you bookmark this and watch on your own.
So I got to start off today's video with
is this the 9/11 truther shit where she blames the Jews?
Said Israelis celebrated 9/11.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to bother watching that, because I know the whole story, but maybe. Thanks for the donation, though, Kid Boo.
Has been this relentless use of the phrases Hitler.
What's your main carb source? Well, my carb sources are blueberries, oranges, rice cakes, sweet potatoes, and just white sticky rice. Those are like my main or like only real carb sources.
Nazis, fascists, about Trump and about Trump supporters. And the problem with constantly saying this as a group, as the woke left have done for 9 years now, is that eventually it permeates down to young impressionable minds who genuinely believe that it is their mission to stop America from being taken over by the new Nazis or the new fascists or the new Hitler. And that leads to the kind of thing we saw with Charlie Kirk. Do you agree that this language, this relentless, in my view, woeful misuse, particularly of the word Nazi, towards Trump and his supporters, this is part of the problem?
Dodo, $22, do you think you taking steroids now will make you look worse later in life than if you had otherwise not taken steroids now? Also, can we game soon before you fall asleep? We need to finish Metal Gear so we can play Silent Hill and games for Halloween. I don't know if we're going to play games tonight. That's why I didn't say maybe gaming in the title. Does Mike O'Hearn look bad? I don't think so. He's what? Isn't he almost? Yeah, he's like 54 at least, or 56. What? How old is he? Yeah, he's 56. He was born in fucking 1969. I don't think Mike O'Hearn looks bad at all for a 56-year-old. So if Mike O'Hearn looks like this at 56, I think I'll be just fine. I don't see it making me look worse later in life. And I mean, growth hormone and some of these other steroids have anti-aging properties. They literally heal your body and they promote collagen synthesis. And as you age, your ability to produce collagen decreases. So if you are taking drugs that elevate collagen synthesis, then your skin's probably going to look better in the long run. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Dodo donated $2. Let's be honest, nobody is threatening the lives or attempting to murder conservatives because they watch CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC. The ones that are doing that are being brainwashed from TikTok and Twitter, so people saying we need to shut down CNN because of that are stupid. Well, yeah. They're all on TikTok, Reddit, or Twitter. That's where they're getting their crazy radicalization from. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Well, I think part of the deeper problem, though, Brother Pierce, is that the organized greed and weaponized hatred and routinized indifference toward the vulnerable has come together in such a way that it has eroded the sources of character formation, so that integrity, honesty, decency, and self-critical sensibilities of individuals and groups is more and more disappearing. So you end up with prime, because hatred itself is promiscuous, just like greed. Just like indifference toward the suffering of others. It's promiscuous. It will lie with the left, right, center. It lies with Christians. It lies with Muslims. It lies with Jews. It lies with Buddhists. It lies with Hindus. And human beings were so wretched in the first place. If we don't undergo some kind of spiritual and moral cultivation, we end up falling back on greed and hatred and indifference. And I mean, the American empire at this moment is one in which the lethal combination of the hatred and the greed and the indifference generates very much the exchange that we just saw. You see, this brother right here says, well, all leftists want to see me dead. Well, I'm a leftist. I don't want to see you dead.
How much volume are you going to do after your cut when you get into a slight surplus? Are you still cutting? You should. No idea. I'm going to just make adjustments as needed.
I'm a Christian.
You call Trump's administration a neo-fascist movement, you lunatic. You people have gone out
You're
of your
absolutely
way.
right.
You have gone out of your way.
No, let me make the case. Let me make the case. Let me make the case. Will you allow me to speak, brother? Come on, man. Come on. No, you haven't made the case. If you think I made the case, then you're not interested in dialogue.
You just said this brother over here said this.
You're very, very different, brother Charlie, man. You're very different than Charlie, though, man. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's rhetoric for people like you that got that man killed, sir.
No. There are such a thing as neo-fascists. But Pierce, why you have a brother on who's not going to allow nobody to speak, man? We're just wasting time. If all you're interested in is making your money, and you bring this brother on it, and nobody can say a word, and we can't even mourn Brother Charlie passing. I had dialogues with Brother Charlie. This brother's going to say, oh, this kumbaya and so forth. No, Charlie was made in the image of a loving and mighty God. I believe that. I say my prayers for Sister Erica and the kids, because this brother wants to trash my Christian sensibility, and look at him laughing now. It's a joke, man. Pierce, it's not worth it.
Is Charlie Kirk part of the neo-fascist movement? Is he part of your neo-fascist movement?
Not with this brother.
Yeah.
When Charlie himself says that he is against Civil Rights Act, does that make him a proponent of Jim Crow? When he calls Martin Luther King Jr. an awful human being and a scumbag? I'm critical of that. I am critical of that. You're absolutely right, Brother Wilson. You're absolutely right. But if all you're going to do is be arrogant, you're...
Like, I don't think it's deniable that Charlie Kirk was a racist. He said some pretty wild things on TV. Like, he said he doesn't like the idea of black people being airline pilots. Like, it's pretty unhinged. Myco Trend donated $2. What are the negative health effects of following a Mediterranean diet, high intake of poultry, fish, salmon? Well, a traditional Mediterranean diet isn't high in meat. But, yeah, meat isn't good for you, so... You're losing out on fiber and phytonutrients and eating foods that are going to contain cholesterol and stuff. Thanks for the donation, though, Myco Tren.
Arrogant, just like the so-called leftists you're talking about. But Pierce, you making your money, brother. Go on and make your money, man.
It's not about making.
Worth it. This brother right here,
making
part of the problem. This other brother who has a deep connection to Charlie, he's willing to at least listen. But this brother's not willing to listen.
Cornell, can you sit down? I would like you to remain part of the debate.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. He's smoking his cigarettes with his arrogant self. Come on, man. We don't have enough dialogue at all.
Surely you're not going to walk out in a debate about dialogue.
Go on and make your money, man.
Right. Well, it's kind of farcical to quit a debate where we're literally debating about the importance of free speech and being able to listen to each other's opinions, which seems to me completely insane. Anyway, we've lost Cornel West for now. Maybe we'll get him back. Well, Andrew Wilson referred to...
Hey, nigger. I'm drunk as a motherfucker over here. I just want you to know that you're funny as shit. Your crash outs make me laugh when I'm in a dark place. Keep up the good work. Keep making those crash out gains.
All right, I'll be sure to get frustrated occasionally. Just for you. Thanks for the donation, Killian Titan. No, Charlie said because of DEI, he would feel uncomfortable seeing a black pilot because he would be worried he was hired only for being black. I've seen the full clip. That's not what he said. Yeah, that was not out of context. He genuinely does not like the idea of black people doing anything. Like, so I've seen a number of clips where he was talking about that. It didn't have anything to do with DEI.
Destiny's insane tweets a little earlier, which were disavowed by Anna Kasparian. Well, Destiny joins us now. Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk's death. When Erica Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. In response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags at half-mast in memory of Charlie, you posted on X buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every conservative debate call out I do in 2026 with "Don't dodge, bro." That's not what Charlie would have wanted. I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump should have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Brock about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family, who was a 22-year-old
guy described.
He wasn't
Destiny.
trans. He didn't have a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences. He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry, excuse me, when?
Yesterday, he said that.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college?
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know the very reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it clear that the you may not want to hear this. You may not want to hear it, Destiny. But the reality is the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
Let me just ask you.
Okay, you're accusing the governor of lying. That's your prerogative. But if it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until Donald Trump says something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down. Can you tell me why he cannot?
Why would you expect anybody, Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't
Can you
Trump
answer this question?
All of us should be less violent.
Why do you think?
Say that?
Why do you think?
Why is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you think?
Let me ask a question.
Let me ask a question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the
Destiny. Let me
You have a huge audience of young men who listen to everything you have to say. So when it doesn't matter. You have a huge audience, and because of the fact that you have a huge audience, you have a responsibility to not turn. No, it hasn't. It hasn't been broken. Actually care about the country and want to bring people together. You do the opposite. You represent the worst of us, Destiny. You're embarrassing.
You should tell Donald.
All right, let me ask Destiny a question. No, hang on. Don't all shout at once, please.
If Donald Trump would have come out and said, hey, we should all be less violent, I have no problem saying
I have one question for you, Destiny.
Why can't conservatives do that? Why can't conservatives do that?
Destiny, I have a question for you. Why do you think, in your campaign for everyone to dial down the temperature, why do you think that mocking the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk, when she posts an image of her at the coffin side, why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United States is not able.
You're mocking his widow. You're mocking his widow.
We've had multiple political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
Why did you mock his widow?
Why
did you mock his widow?
Because she's being used as a political weapon right now for conservatives to continue. What do you mean? Wow, she's literally doing.
Her husband just got murdered
on email. Yeah, she's using it to drive up recruitment.
And you can't even condemn the murder. You won't condemn it.
Can't even tell his side.
You're so deranged about Trump that you cannot condemn the murder because you're waiting for Donald Trump to say something. All right, let me bring in Jack. Let me bring in Jack Posobiec. I got to say,
there's still no answer to that question, Pierre. You can't say,
which question?
Why can't Donald Trump simply go on TV and say we all need to turn it down? Like Biden could, like Obama could, like the Clintons could, like Kamala could. Why not?
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Unbelievable. I'm not the president.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it.
Yes, it was. It actually was your side that caused it. It was your side.
This guy was raised in a white Christian household.
He was a radicalized leftist ideology.
He wasn't radicalized by leftism at all. You have no proof of that whatsoever.
That's what the investigators are saying.
Was a conservative, just like the people at Firearm Shapiro's house was a conservative, just like all the J6ers were conservative, just like the Proud Boys were conservative. Every single one of these people. Oh, it's Jack Posobiec, the author of Unhuman, another person that Charlie's put a good one, dude.
I'll give you one last chance, Destiny, to condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk.
You're acting like an unhuman.
Why can't I hear Donald Trump condemn violence?
All right, you won't condemn it. Okay, we've all heard you repeatedly refuse to condemn it.
Jesus Christ. Dude, Destiny, debates the most unhinged fucking retards. Kid Boo, donate $2. Let me see.
For when it comes to pilots or surgeons.
That's not the clip I'm talking about. There's another clip where he was on, I think it was a podcast. Where he was talking about it.
If I see somebody who is black, as I said on the show, I'm going to hope that that person is qualified. That's what I said, which of course is legitimate.
He said specifically, if I see a black pilot under the ideals of DEI, I'm going to hope he's qualified.
For sure.
Now, okay.
You're a black pilot. Because you're a black
pilot.
I'm
a black pilot, right? So when he said that, I immediately started to understand what he was doing in the moment. All he was trying to do was get a ride.
Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
I forgot to buy a fucking do-rag at the fucking store. The do-rag goes hard. I need that do-rag, nigga.
I don't like do-rags. Thanks for the donation, Killing Titan. Dodo donates to Liar's Destiny. Looks like a dishonest liar. Like, I get what he's trying to say, but when he denies the shooter was a leftist, he just comes off as a liar like Jenk does. That kind of lying is not good. No one knows what his political affiliation is. Look, also, VG, we need to hear you ramble to Destiny. It's been a while. Well, he hasn't really been opening up his Discord, so... You know, maybe I'll get a chance sometime soon. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Donald Trump refused to condemn it too. For some reason, the leftists on YouTube are a bigger deal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, what's incredible is you don't have the basic humanity to condemn it. You'd rather taunt his widow. I find that sickening. Jack Posobiec.
I find it sickening that when people are getting killed in the country, the president of the United States on Fox and Friends, when they're begging him, what do you say to your followers that want revenge? He says, I don't know, all the elections are rigged. It's the radical Democrats. That's insane to me. And then the fixation is, well, who on Twitter and YouTube isn't condemning the violence?
All right, Jack Posobiec.
You have a great example here of the type of cancer I'm talking about, where when you present direct information, they refuse, they obfuscate, they refute, they say it's not true, they lie. You could see from the bullet casings, you could see from postings, you could see from everything else.
There's no evidence he was dating a trans person.
There that, it's very clear what happened here. This is the same people who supported President Trump almost getting assassinated twice last year, Cory Carpatore being assassinated last year in a situation. Again, see, just lies. That's all they do. They talk over, they don't even let you give a chance to speak. And something needs to be done, Piers. Something absolutely needs to be done. This ideology should be shamed, humiliated, driven from the public discourse. I mean, you've got people who have completely dissociated with humanity because all they care about are clicks and YouTube streams and likes. Go to the casket, go to the gravesite, go talk to the widow. I don't even know how to discuss this with someone who's completely lost.
No evidence that he had a trans furry boyfriend. You're just parroting nonsense that you heard on Twitter.
All touch with reality.
Yeah, I mean, Anna.
What's Jack's answer to why can't the president say we should all be less violent?
Right. Because you can't even condemn the cold-blooded execution of Charlie Kirk.
Turns on
I don't think you're in a position to demand anything from anybody.
On YouTube. That's how I'm going to take my.
You're not in any position to condemn anybody for anything. You won't condemn a cold-blooded murder.
He's the president of the United States. He's the president of the United States. No one here can answer that question.
Basic humanity says the murder was horrific. Why can't you say it?
To be less violent.
Why can't you say it, Destiny?
Over a decade.
To say the murder was horrific and unacceptable.
Why can't Donald Trump say it?
You can't do it.
Can you hear any words for Donald Trump?
All right, Anna Kasperin.
Nothing exactly.
Anna Kasperin. To me, this is what I'm talking about. That I think there is an element of the left, the hard woke left, that have completely lost their minds. If you are not able to just outright simply condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk, and if you cannot stop yourself from mocking his grieving widow, you are sick, as I've just seen from Destiny.
The sick thing is weaponizing a widow's grief to try to do recruitment for your political party. That's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. She's showing up in emails for recruitment drives for TPUSA.
Destiny? What did you think the assassination of a political figure would do? What did you think the outcome was going to be? What did you think the outcome was? And by the way, really, your behavior. Hold on. Hey, how about take it easy on the Adderall? Take it easy on the Adderall, and let me answer the question that Pierce asked me.
You must have been really bully today.
My behavior is not reliant on how anyone else behaves. Every morning I wake up and I make decisions about how I choose to react or respond to things. I don't wake up in the morning, check what Donald Trump has to say, and then base my own personal behavior on his behavior. I agree with you in that it would be very helpful to have the leader of this country want to turn the temperature down. And he hasn't done that. I agree with you on that. But that doesn't change the way I choose to respond to what's going on. The idea of mocking a woman who is now a widow with 2 young children who witnessed her husband get shot in the neck and bleed out to death. How can you mock that? What is wrong with you? I just don't understand it. That's it. I don't understand it. I don't understand you, Destiny. You have so much hatred in your heart, and at the same time, you judge others
if you're going to weaponize somebody's grief against the other party, well, then of course people have a right to fight back against it. I think that she has every right to grieve in whatever way she wants, but when that grief is going to be weaponized to do recruitment, political recruitment, and further radicalization of the other side, then of course you not only have the ability to mock it, but you have the obligation to mock it. It's insane.
Let me understand. Let me understand your argument. So since others are using her grief to politically recruit, you think that it's okay to mock her specifically?
Since others are using her grief, she's the one who gave a 17-minute speech on TV where she talked about good versus evil. She's the one showing up at TPUSA ads to 1 or 2 days after.
If someone assassinated my husband, I would not be able to have the level of composure she had during that speech. I would be out for blood. I understand why she's angry and why she said the things that she said. Okay, you need to understand what being a human is, what it's like to actually lose someone that you love, that you chose to spend your life with, that you chose to raise children with, a person who was violently and viciously assassinated like that. This is why I've moved away
and when
from
identifying as a got bullied online. It's so funny. It's so funny that you just said that you don't think about how other people act to define your behavior. Your entire political ideology now is somehow defined by the people that were mean to you on Twitter.
No,
if somebody cares about somebody who's grieving,
I understood what the flaws on the left happen to be. The weakness in their arguments. No, it's not about the way I get treated. I get treated like crap from both sides of the political aisle.
You do mass recruitment for our political party while everyone over here is calling for civil war. It's unhinged. When you've got people like Matt Walsh in the Daily Wire,
we're talking to a guy who said he'd be okay with his own parents getting killed if they went to that Trump rally where that assassination assassination
And we're talking to a
There's
woman
no
who went
reasoning
on
with
into
you,
the whole
Destiny.
conservative media
There's no,
outlet with
there's
Tucker
no
Carlson
reasoning
and
with
Glenn
you.
Beck and have nothing bad to say whatsoever. I know where your bread is buttered. I know where
And
you're
it was great. I had awesome conversations. I don't regret it at all. I also had a conversation with Jackson Soviet on her take. It was awesome. That's what democracy is about. Having an exchange of ideas. Yeah.
All right, let me bring in.
I don't agree with him on everything, but at least we can have dialogue.
Anna, you're completely right, by the way. Anna is completely right. And the irony of Charlie Kirk is that he led the way in going in to debate with people who hated him, and he would try and have respectful dialogue.
Charlie Kirk beat up on college students.
Unlike you, Destiny. Let me bring Andrew Wilson in.
So do you.
Let me bring in Andrew Wilson.
So do you. You beat up on college students. You're going on a college tour. You're going on a college tour right now to beat up on college students. What are you talking about, Destiny? That's what you're doing right this second, is going on a college tour to go beat up on college students. By the way, can I just ask you a question? Yes or no? Can you actually answer? Can you actually answer? Hang on, calm down. I just got one question. I got one question for you, and I want you to actually answer it. Are you glad Charlie Kirk is dead?
No, I don't think anybody in this country should be dying to political violence. It's insane. The past 5 years in this country has been crazy. But the reality is, until conservatives
so why did you say to your co-host that Trump deserved a bullet? Why did you tell him that?
Until conservatives have to say, hey, we all need to be less violent, there's no purpose in Democrats doing it. Because every time Democrats disavow.
Piers can't debate. He just looks like a fool with all his whataboutism bullshit. I can't stand him.
It's whataboutism and tone policing. It's really all he can do. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben.
Now, you further entrench your guys' delusional beliefs that all the violence is coming on the left. Donald Trump can go on TV. He can say, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. They can go on Parler and say, we heard you. They can go to the Capitol and break in and try to insurrect. They can get convicted in front of a jury, and then Donald Trump can pardon them, and we can come out and go, hey, guys, why aren't Democrats disavowing violence? And pretend that the problem is coming from the left. Democrats do a disservice to this country by disavowing violence constantly. The President of the United States
Let me respond quickly.
Let
me respond quickly, Destiny. So the thing is, why did you say to your co-host that the bullet was for Trump? Why did you say to your co-host that the best place for the bullet was Trump? Why did you say that?
Why did Donald Trump call
It's a whataboutism. Whataboutism. I'm asking you a question.
Hey VG nigger. Thanks for your educational and aggressive lessons on oxygen and lifting for trolling ass niggers that don't know what the fuck they're taking about nigger.
Bro out of breath from doing shrugs. LMAO. Well, how about you fucking face me in a fucking cage match? Huh? Yeah, my cardio was so bad. Well, why don't you fight me in a cage? We'll see how bad my fucking cardio really is, dipshit. I do 40 minutes of fucking cardio every day. Yeah, guess what? Unlike you, I fucking lift heavy and train hard, and yes, you have to breathe heavy, because when you're lifting heavy fucking weights with high intensity, that requires fucking oxygen. If you're a tiny little fuck who lifts shitty-ass little baby weights, yeah, you might not have to breathe very hard.
All right, well, thanks for the donation, Killian Titan.
I can't be what about.
This bitch-ass nigger Destiny is doing the whataboutism. My nigger Charlie got assassinated, and instead of condemning the murder, this soy boy bitch retard always wanna bring up my nigger Trump. But what about Trump is always what Destiny resorts to. Fuck him.
All right, well, thanks for the donation, Kid Boo. Dodo Donatillers, think you would make a good moderator in a debate between Destiny and Andrew Wilson, but also I would like to see you debate Andrew Wilson on Piers Morgan, but too bad you suck so fucking much at elementary school level networking that you can't even get a debate. I really don't think either of them need a moderator. It really wouldn't help. But, yeah, you know. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
If it's my question, Destiny.
Why won't Donald Trump
answer the question?
Right, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this before I cut mics?
Because you don't care.
Destiny,
you don't care that Kirk's
Destiny, allow Andrew to repeat his question and let him ask the question. Then you answer it, okay, Andrew?
No, I want to hear the other
question. Let him ask the question. Let him ask the question, Destiny, and then you answer it. Andrew.
Destiny told his co-host, when asked point blank if he wanted the bullet to kill Trump, that the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. He said this to Pisco. I watched it. Okay, this guy's an obfuscation machine. And if you know what else, Destiny, why should we believe you? I think you are glad Kirk is dead. And all of your tweets seem to prove that. And you would have been happy if Trump was assassinated. You've made that very clear. So why not just be truthful for once in your fucking life and say the truth, that you don't care that Kirk is dead, and you're actually probably glad he is. Isn't that really what's true?
I don't want anybody in this country to die to political violence. I don't think in the United States of America that should be happening. I don't know why it's so hard for the president to say the same. I think it'd be the easiest thing in the world as president. Biden did it for 4 years. That's why everything was way cooler when he was here, like in terms of temperature. The Clintons have no problem saying it. Barack Obama has no problem saying it. Kamala Harris has come out and said it. Every Democratic lawmaker and leader has basically come out and said it. But for some reason on the Republican side, it's just civil war, civil war, civil war. And the Republican president of the United States, who has presided over more violence politically in this country, more large protests than any president in all of U.S. history, for some reason can't bring himself to say, all of us need to...
Moo nigga Andrew Wilson always destroys Destiny too. They killed my nigger Charlie because we always destroy these liberal fuckfaces and they can't handle that, so they wanna shoot and kill. That's why they try killing my nigger Trump too. Fuck the libs.
That's great. Thanks for the donation, Lidboo.
To calm down. And
So did Trump deserve the bullet? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
This is all you care about are the political hate jobs.
Just answer the question, bro. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did Donald Trump deserve the bullet on his side ever? Did Donald Trump
answer the question? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
You can't answer the question. We're here to play.
No, bro. It's my turn to ask the question. It's your turn to answer. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did Trump deserve violence in this country ever?
Did he deserve the bullet? Yes, he's decided violence. But again, I just did. Now your turn. Now your turn. It's your turn. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
I never said that. No, I never said that. No.
Okay, except you did to your co-host.
No, I did. Oh, wait, when did Donald Trump disavow? Wait, when did Donald Trump
your
disavow
exact
violence
words
in this
to your
country?
co-host, you lying sack of shit. If he wanted to kill Trump, the
No
worst thing that could have happened
Donald Trump
was the
disavowed all
bullet
political
missing.
violence.
That's what you said,
This is,
bro.
yeah. And this is where, when you're putting YouTubers and tweeters on the same level as the president of the United States, this is why conservatives are absolutely brain broken when it comes to violence in this country. That's why it'll continue.
But Destiny, Destiny,
I'm going to turn around and be like, I can't believe it. What's happening here?
Okay, Destiny, if you care so much about political violence in America, why don't you lead the way yourself without mentioning anybody else? Why don't you, Destiny, right now just outright condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because we've been doing that for a decade. One side can't turn down the temperature.
You can't do
it. Can't turn down the temperature. If Donald Trump can't, then the left shouldn't until he does.
Got it.
Republicans
okay, you don't want to do
need
it.
accountability for their actions. They need some responsibility for the insanity.
Even though you've taken none yourself. Let me bring in Jack Posobiec.
We absolutely.
All right, that's enough, Destiny. I'll bring in Jack Posobiec. Jack.
Okay. Nice. Both sides it.
Jack.
Yeah.
What is your response to this?
I mean, Piers, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, this type of ideology where you've got someone who's willing to mock Erica, who's been standing strong for her family, for her children.
Equipoise.
Yeah, we need to watch some steroid videos.
Used by men and used by horses. Amazing drug. Boldenone, undeslinate, the name of the drug. Absolutely the grandfather of all steroids, initially patented back in the late 40s. This drug is used by men and even women in low doses. It's actually a drug so versatile, it's used for bulking and cutting. We'll see why. In this video, I'll discuss the incredible history of this compound through its various manufacturers, ending up as a vet-only drug pretty quickly back in the day. We'll talk about the limited medical uses. And then we'll talk the aspect that's so important for this video and what I do about the incredible side effects of this specific drug, not only from the books that are read, but from the thousands of anecdotal histories that I've heard from so many men that have trusted me over the years with their health and coming to me as the #1 steroid expert in the world. Amazing estrogenic and paradoxic estrogenic effects and androgenic effects, and some amazing stories that I'll tell about GI issues, GI disease, gastrointestinal disease, why the red cells go up, effects on the kidneys and hypertension. Steroid, equipoise. The parent compound is called boldenone. It's one of the oldest anabolic steroids patented back by SIBA in 1949, boldenone. During that time period, this manufacturing pharmaceutical company experimenting, adding different ester tails to it and changing it to make it an ester, to have it release pharmacologically longer acting, to be used medically for humans. And in the 1960s, they marketed Parenabol. And the historians out there know this was out there for a very limited time. And by the end of the 1970s, it was discontinued for human consumption. And the reason was, at that time, that the experts and the manufacturers thought there were other steroids, anabolic steroids, that were better for human consumption, as my other videos have discussed. At that time, then purchased in the 1970s by Squibb, introduced into the world market as a veterinarian agent called equipoise, still equipoise. Further interesting history as it's transpired through the years with this agent. 1985, Salve Labs purchased, and then Wyeth Labs purchases in the 1980s. And when it was under the production of Wyeth Labs, they produced it under a division called Fort Dodge Animal Health. Now, the anecdotes go all the way back that I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, amazing, of men using the Fort Dodge products. I've even seen them. Men have brought them in currently in the last couple of years because they've actually had the bottles they've kept, historical purposes. Amazing. The old school Fort Dodge animal products. 1990s now, further and currently owned by Pfizer. marketed as equipoise strictly for veterinarian use. Many
Well, Mage and Tillers, have you ever watched Drawn Together on Comedy Central? I bet Captain Hero, what was your favorite character? I don't know what the fuck that is.
I started training with my new workout partner, Mr. Steroids. I must get stronger. Stronger! I needed more steroids.
Here, take it.
I've never seen that. Thanks for the donation, Will Mage.
Why use the argument of guns making people safer when you can just say that's what you prefer? Your argument goes to shit the moment you compare US gun deaths and crime to Japan.
You're telling me if somebody broke into your home, you'd prefer to not have a gun? Yeah, guns make you safer. What are you, fucking stupid? So, dumbass, not sure if you're aware of this, but criminals don't follow the law. So, how is it going to make you safer to only have criminals have firearms? What is this bullshit you sent me have to do with anything? Okay, great. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Can you
Fucking
believe
idiot.
Big Lenny used to use an elephant abortion inducer? He's mentioned it on the Del Rey Misfits a few times. He was a lab experiment, no wonder why his life was cut so short.
What the fuck drug was that? I've never heard of that one. Thanks for the donation, Johnny Bravo.
many underground formulations and manufacturers all over the world, as equipoise is certainly one of the most popular injectable anabolic steroids currently to this day. Medical uses for humans for equipoise, as I mentioned, was very limited in a very short period of time versus other steroids, interestingly enough. Of course, the medical uses were the same. It was for disease-related cachectic wasting states to increase lean tissue in humans, certainly for osteoporosis, interestingly enough, in women, end-stage and worse osteoporosis. And again, during that time period, the powers to be realized that this is not a good medicine for humans, and it was discontinued. And that obviously brings up the veterinarian market. Now, in the veterinarian market, it's used widely for horses. Incredible. And the anecdotes for what it does, I've heard from horse owners and from horse trainers that this medicine, this drug, steroid, is incredible. It makes the horse feel better. The horse wants to race. I've heard this. It's incredible. Increases the appetite also in the horse, and we'll see how this carries over to humans. And amazing. Still used to this day. The pharmacology and structure of boldenone. It's a derivative of testosterone. It's a very early derivative of testosterone, well before Dianabol. The change chemically to testosterone is only a double bond between carbon 1 and carbon 2. Now, that's boldenone. To make boldenone undesolinate, there's a further modification by adding a carboxylic acid ester called undesolanoic acid to the 17-beta hydroxyl group of the ring structure. Now this is a very long-acting agent, and this is one of the unique properties of this anabolic steroid that the steroid users and those in the world know of this agent. Its peak to concentration will be certainly extended versus testosterone, several days. And more importantly, and more interesting enough, the half-life of this drug is very, very long, very long. 14, 21 days. I've even seen experts say it could be even up to 28 days in half-life. Much longer than testosterone derivative esters, which are apparently about 6 to 8 days. This is a very interesting piece, what I'm going to say next. Boldenone molecule structure is identical to Dianabol, absolutely identical. The only difference is there's a 17-beta ester for boldenone, making it an oily injectable-based steroid, intramuscular, versus the oral agent of
Just random vids, donate $2.
Boop. What are you doing, big man? What are you doing, big man? Can I see these?
Well, those are big kitty paws.
Looking good, buddy.
Oh my
They're
goodness.
looking good, those beans. He's like, don't touch them. Don't touch them. Look at the chin scratches. The sweet timber boy.
Wow, that's your big kitty.
deploying armed drones to help with security, and people are questioning this one. The 30 to 90 weaponized drones sit in secure boxes around the school, ready to be activated whenever there's a security threat present. But they're all flown and operated by a team all the way in Austin, Texas, which are made up of drone racing pilots. Those pilots can operate drones going up to 100 miles per hour, allowing them to get across large campuses in seconds, scout hallways, feed information to law enforcement on the ground in Florida, or neutralize.
Boring.
Fuck you talking about the government, huh?
At 56 years, you've been wasting your fucking life. I feel like it's time to be real with yourself.
Okay, thanks for the donation, just random vids.
Dynaball, where you have a 17 alpha alkylation group. That's the only difference. So this is boldenone, equipoise, is injectable D-ball. That's what it's known for. Amazing history I bring you. Amazing history. Truth of history. Now the side effects. The most...
No, haven't messaged Kick yet. I gotta do that.
important and the most greatest warnings that I give to people in the world that are using these drugs. Always be careful. The estrogenic aspects of this drug. Because boldenone has the double bind between carbon 1 and carbon 2, this makes it less an androgenic and estrogenic molecule. It's known to be a mildly estrogenic drug, actually half as estrogenic as testosterone. Now, there'll still be gynecomastia and water loading, and there'll be mood changes. The fact is that equipoise increases the levels of testosterone. This is known. This is something that's been known. Test and EQ are used commonly together. And when they use equipoise, it's thought to increase the delivery or the levels of testosterone. Now, with that, you'll increase off the carrier, sexually binding globin, and get a liberation of more free testosterone. So it's the testosterone used with equipoise, because equipoise is rarely used alone.
If you were safer from having guns, then those crime rates like for things like robbery wouldn't be so high in the US compared to Japan because you can defend yourself with guns according to you. Retard. Are the steroids making it harder to think? Lamau.
I don't know how you have a complete and utter lack of critical thinking skills. If there's more criminals, you're going to have more crime. So Japan doesn't have as many criminals, and there's a variety of reasons for that. They don't have the same level of racial heterogeneity, which is heavily tied to things like gang violence and organized crime. There's Mexican gangs, there's black gangs, there's Asian gangs in the United States. How many fucking blacks and Mexicans and whatever the fuck else do you see in Japan? Not too many. They do not have as many large metropolitan areas. They do not have the same income disparity. They don't have the same issues with racial segregation that the U.S. has had for the longest time. They do not have the same issues with drug trafficking, which is the biggest driver of organized crime. So there's a variety of fucking reasons why Japan has lower crime rates, particularly with firearms-related crimes. It's not because they banned guns. 3D printers existed. If criminals wanted to make guns, they could. You're just a fucking retard.
That you're going to see the estrogenic effects of testosterone that could be worsened by the use or exacerbated by the use and the addition of equipoise. Please pay attention to that. I've heard this anecdotally for many, many, many years. Now, the dependence...
I'm not playing Capture the Flag in Call of Duty.
...is certainly man-to-man, and it's based on the genetics of the man. Some men are high aromatizers, some men are less aromatizers. Again, this is what I see. It's called fingerprint medicine. Every man is different. Certainly, selective estrogen receptor modulators and aromatase inhibitors are used with this combination classically because it's really a classic combination of testosterone with equipoise, test EQ. It just rolls off the tongue. When I hear the history, men come in, test and EQ. Androgenic side effects. It's less androgenic than testosterone, and in part, boldenone itself will reduce to dihydroboldenone by 5-alpha reductase, but this is a minimal activity. It's known to have minimal consequences. But again, like I stated before with the estrogenic effects. Testosterone and equipoise are commonly used together. Test EQ. We see worse acne. We see worse male pattern balding. We see worse prostate symptoms. And I see massively suppression of the hypothalamus pituitary gonad axis, leading to anabolic steroid-induced hypogonadism. And again, it's because equipoise does something to further the suppression in the abilities of consequences of side effects with testosterone. So it's a further worsening, if you will, of test and EQ together. So if you look at equipoise, you'll think it's less estrogenic and less androgenic. It's a mild steroid. But when it's used with other steroids, not to mention testosterone, that's because, and that's why you see the side effects, because of this adverse synergy. Unique side effects. Very interesting unique side effects of equipoise, known to increase the red blood cells. Everyone knows this. Equipoise, decadurobalin, testosterone. It's called polycythemia. The process that leads and causes polycythemia is a process called erythrocytosis. That process, in part, if not in the main part, is because of the steroids increase erythropoietin. All steroids cause this. So when you have an increased circulation of erythropoietin in your body, your stem cells, your bone marrow respond, and you get an increase in red blood cell mass. And that's called erythrocytosis, leading to secondary polycythemia from androgens. Okay. There's something about equipoise that stimulates a greater release of erythropoietin versus other anabolic steroids. I discovered this, and I've noted this with other scientists and other experts on steroids in the world. It is true. The other unique side effect of equipoise is there's certainly an increase in appetite with this drug, again, over standard steroids. All anabolic androgenic steroids for men are going to increase appetite, and I mentioned for women as well. They're going to hit that central nervous system, limbic region, and you're going to have an increased appetite drive. And that's one of the reasons why anabolic steroids help people gain weight and increase lean muscle tissue. It obviously works in the muscle skeletal site, but it also works to increase calories. That's why they use it for the veterinarian reasons. So the GI issue and the appetite I've seen. There are definitely cases all over the world I've seen since the time I was in medical school in the late 90s of steroid users getting inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis. Now, I've seen so many anecdotal cases, so many cases of men using steroids, and they'll focus in on equipoise that it led to some GI tract, some gastrointestinal disease. And then I even have one man right now that I've seen in the last month, that I've talked to in the last month, where he tells a story where he did some other steroids, then he took equipoise, and literally within 24 hours, he had stabbing stomach pains and pains. 2 years later now, he's had upper GI series, he's had pill endoscopies, and he has what I believe is going to be diagnosed as the beginning of inflammatory bowel disease, although it's an atypical case. It's definitely an atypical case. So, equipoise does something to the GI tract for many men. Again, the genetics across the board are going to denote how someone responds. Are you a responder or a not responder? Not just the muscle, but also in your side effect profile because of the incredible multifactorial aspects of the enzymes and the genes that we have. Pay attention to this, please. Liver, it's not liver toxic. It's not alpha alkylated. It's essentially not liver toxic. Kidney, it is kidney toxic versus other drugs. We don't know why. There's even studies on this and many animal studies as well.
There's only animal studies. I've never seen anybody have kidney issues from equipoise.
Men that I see that suffer kidney disease from anabolic steroids have a particular type of kidney disease. I'm seeing it once a month. Focal segmental glomerular sclerosis, FSGS. That's the particular type. I'm working with the experts currently at Columbia University on this. There's something about equipoise, again, remember, stimulation of erythropoietin from the kidney. Something else where it's specific and it's hitting receptors in the kidney and it's causing some damage to the kidney, to the structural kidney itself, the nephron. There's some damage. I see it. I see it versus other steroids. I see an accelerated disease. I don't know why. No one knows why. I am studying it currently. Be careful. Cardiovascular disease. Very interesting. All steroids can accelerate cardiac disease. What is cardiac disease? Cardiac disease is the enlarging of the heart, and it's going to be the progression or the initiation of plaque progression leading to a myocardial infarction. That's a heart attack. How does it do it? Remember, erythropoietin, increase of red blood cells. That's going to be a mass stress mechanical force damage potentially to the endothelial bed. You're going to get an increase in volume and water retention. Remember, it's not just EQ, it's test and EQ together. Increased volume and water, hypertension. And then in the end, I see postulated that I feel there's a vasoconstrictive worsening effect mediating through the kidney. The vasoconstrictive effect is mediating multifactorially through the endothelial tissue itself, directly on the myocardial tissue, and also mediating through the renal system. I see significant hypertension when men are on testosterone and they add equipoise. There's going to be obviously a potential, like any anabolic steroid, man per man, and dose dependent and time dependent on LVH, which is growing the actual left ventricle wall. What happens over years of using these drugs, including just testosterone and possibly too much and not being managed well, is your heart enlarges. That gets big. That's great to have a nice skeletal muscle. It's great. That's not great to have enlarge. Steroids will cause left ventricular hypertrophy. I see it every day now. Please be careful. And with this, I close the history of equipoise. Please, you have to understand what you're doing to yourself. You have to understand that if you're going to do steroids, sure, there's going to be some great things. There's some great feelings that you're going to love and you're going to get great effects on. Who doesn't want to be big and strong? Your mind will feel great for a period. It may not feel great in the after period. You may do irreversible damage to your heart and to your kidney. Please be careful. I hope this helps everyone in the world. Thank you so much.
All right. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's the same clip.
Every single time they leave the house because of all of these liberal, femme-minded,
and why do you think
girl feels, girl boss,
and why
Netflix,
do you think
Piers Morgan,
and why do you think, and Andrew Tate, why do you think it is that people think they're a misogynist?
Nobody thinks that.
A couple of nights ago, I interviewed Andrew Tate in what may have been our most explosive interview yet. Just a few minutes after I left the Uncensored studio, news broke that Charlie Kirk had been shot and, as we now know, assassinated. We're going to bring you the Andrew Tate interview in full, unedited and uncensored. But first, Andrew Tate returns to give his reaction to his horrific story. Andrew Tate, welcome back to Uncensored. This all happened just after we finished our interview 2 days ago. Just first of all, your immediate reaction when you heard what had happened to Charlie Kirk.
I was devastated. I was very, very sad about it because he's one of the good guys, and he's one of the people who believed in discourse, and he believed in speaking and trying to explain with logic why your worldview is better than the opposing. And if we don't have discourse, then all we have left is violence and war. The point of conversation is to avoid the war. The point of conversation is to be able to sit down and be logical enough to come to a conclusion without the need for violence. And it turns out that that's becoming less and less likely in America today.
I mean, it was, as we get more and more information about the shooter, he's 22 years old. He had bullet casings with "Hey Fascist, Catch," "O Bella Ciao," which is a reference to an Italian song adopted by the anti-fascist resistance during World War II. And then several sort of slightly ambiguous ones. If you read this, you're gay, LMAO, notices bulges, OWO, what's this? Which is a meme from internet culture associated with the furry craze. When you look at all that in totality, what do you think we're dealing with here in terms of who this person is?
I think America has a lot of problems. I think that it's an extremely politically charged environment, perhaps the most politically charged environment on the planet. Politics is all anyone talks about all day, every day. The judicial system is politicized. The educational system is politicized. You couple in with the fact it's the most medicated country in the world. It's very unusual for someone who grew up in Europe to know a large percentage of his fellow students to be on some kind of anti-anxiety medication, some kind of depression medication. These SSRIs remove the humanity from the mind and just wipe their brain. You couple that with a hateful media, which is constantly spitting out hateful rhetoric, and you're going to have a whole bunch of drones walking around without humanity waiting to receive their slave instructions, and they're going to believe that they're doing the right.
Repent. Jesus is King. Richard, Jesus loves you. Also, in Christianity we believe that before the fall, humans were vegan. We will be vegan during the eschaton. Veganism and Christianity are compatible. Your take on Israel is based and keep making gains.
Well, that's good news. Thanks for the donation, Mac Daddy.
Right thing by murdering people as opposed to just talking to them. So America's a very, very interesting place with a lot of problems. It's easy to just blame guns. I think that's pretty shallow to do because you can kill with a car, you can kill with a knife. We need to find out why there's such a spiritual sickness across all of the Western world, especially America.
The governor in Utah gave a pretty powerful address today in which he appealed to people to tone down rhetoric, to get off social media, actually, as much as you can, get back to the real world where 80% of the population exists in America. You're very active on social media. You can be very inflammatory on social media. I mean, some of the tweets you've done since Charlie Kirk's death, the left are evil, murdering scum who kill people or let others kill people. They must be held accountable. They're not the good guys. The compassionate, nice guys want you dead, and they'll do it or encourage us to do it. I get 1,000 death threats a day from these people. We are at war. Civil war was another one. Some people will say, all right, Andrew Tate, you are part of the problem. You are yourself spewing pretty toxic stuff out to millions of people, whipping up rather than calming down the problem. What do you say to that?
Well, if you have a point of view, somebody can be radicalized by it, right? If you have any point of view on the planet, somebody can be radicalized by it. And social media, like all things, is a fantastic tool that can do amazing things. But if it's used the wrong way, it can also do very destructive things. I don't think the answer is to start telling people to not talk. I think the answer is more discussion, more debate. Because if you remove debate, the only answer is violence. So I think that it's also my tweets, which you just highlighted, the fact that I do receive death threats. Somebody did try to kill me only a few weeks ago, and then a friend of mine, a guy who I respected, was blasted, and I had to watch him bleed out. I think it's pretty fair to say that, of course, my tweets are going to be emotionally charged. We can't get into an area where we say that we can't talk anymore, because that's only going to lead to more violence. We have to be able to speak to each other. And I think that you would agree, perhaps I'm wrong, that it's the left which seem to be the ones who are so obsessed with assassination. It seems to be the left which are more violent, Antifa and their riots trying to assassinate President Trump. An attempt was made on my life. An attempt was made on Nick Fuentes' life. They just killed Charlie Kirk. For us to sit here and pretend that this violence isn't going one way is disingenuous.
I certainly don't think it only goes one way. I certainly think it can go the way of any extremist. That the far right has its own problem with extremists. There have been lots of left-wing politicians and public figures who've been targeted. So I think it's a problem that goes both ways. But I have said for quite a while that the woke mind virus, as Elon Musk calls it, that ideology is extremely dangerous, because the irony of it is you've got this kid who is, say, purporting to be anti-fascist, but actually using violence and a gun to silence permanently someone whose views he doesn't agree with. The point being, that is the epitome of fascism.
Well, that's exactly it. So the reason this is so dangerous from the left, and it's not as dangerous from the right, is because the people who are on the right live in a version of objective reality. We live in the real world. These people do not live in the real world. If you're going to believe that a man is a woman, and you're going to believe that we should have no borders for our country and unlimited numbers of people can turn up and just steal from us, if you're going to believe that criminals shouldn't go to jail, you're not a person who's sensible. You now have...
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle any of this tonight, dude. I don't know if I can handle any of that shit. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. See if he has a video on Primo.
Primobolan, another old classic anabolic steroid back in the day, used by men and women, used for cutting and show preparation, also classically used with other steroids for bulking extended phases. Comes in both intramuscular and pill form. And interestingly enough, thought to be one of the safer anabolic steroids in the world. We will discuss the amazing history and some of the politics of Primobolan that lends itself to be so expensive because it's faked so often. Limited medical uses. Of course, the pharmacology and structure of this moderately strong anabolic steroid that is non-estrogenic and mildly androgenic. We will discuss the amazing features and, of course, side effects of this anabolic steroid. The history of Primobolan, methanolone enanthate, and methanolone acetate, described in 1960 by Squibb Pharmaceuticals. Marketed in the United States in 1962 as a medication brand name called Nibal Depot for a very short period of time. Also in 1962, the rights were transferred to Shearing, known today as Bayer Pharmaceuticals, and marketed as Primobolan at that time. Now, that was into the 1960s and 70s. This drug was not marketed in the United States. It was only marketed over in Europe. Now, during that time period, it was utilized for medical purposes only. Into the 1990s, from pressure from the anti-doping agencies in sports, it was pulled off the market in Europe at that time in the 1990s. And currently, it is still available in brand name in limited locations in the world: Spain, Japan, Turkey, Paraguay, and Ecuador. And there may be some other small countries in the Middle East. It's actually still a viable drug in America on the FDA list. But of course, it's widely reproduced in the underground, and that's why you see so many fakes of this drug. Medical uses of Primobolan. Just like other anabolic steroids, it is used to promote lean muscle tissue, status post-cachextic conditions of muscle wasting, surgeries, various disease states, and of course infectious disease states, classically like chronic hepatitis. Because this medicine is anabolic, and it is actually very weakly hepatotoxic, if hepatotoxic at all, especially in an intramuscular form. Interestingly enough, it was marketed to treat advanced breast cancer in women. Amazing feature, it was used in premature infants and children that had failure to thrive. And there were actually studies indicating that it worked well and it had limited side effects. Another amazing medical use for this drug was it was used to counter the adverse effects of people being on corticosteroids for prolonged periods, like prednisone. And that's used for people that have diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, COPD. And we know that when people use corticosteroids for a prolonged period, they can have side effects secondary to the corticosteroids: moon phases, puffiness, malaise, fatigue, and they get cachexic. So using an anabolic steroid that is not estrogenic to lead to further weight gain and water gain from the corticosteroid would be brilliant. These are amazing features that I found in my research on these drugs. And I always wonder what happened to these studies and what happened to these utility of these drugs way back in the day, because these drugs have been damned for political reasons throughout the world. And you just have to wonder, why couldn't it be used for people that are suffering some of these real medical conditions? Interesting feature is that apart from other anabolic steroids that increase red blood cell mass, this medicine is not used for anemia. It, of course, will increase red blood cells, but nothing like testosterone or some of the other anabolic steroids like equipoise that we know. Pharmacology and structure. Methanolone enanthate for the intramuscular injection, acetate in the oral form. This is a DHT-derived anabolic steroid by the addition of a double bond between carbon 1 and 2. And for the intramuscular form, there is a carboxylic acid ester and enthoic acid attached to the 17-beta hydroxyl group, versus the standard acetate form for the oral agent. The half-life for the oral agent is very short, 4 to 6 hours, which lends itself to multi-day dosing, either 2 to 3 times a day dosing for medical dosing. The half-life of the intramuscular agent is similar to testosterone, has a half-life of about 5 to 8 days depending on the individual. Side effects of primobolan: it is slightly less anabolic versus testosterone. It is not estrogenic because it's DHT derived, so it's not affected by aromatase. So in theory, used alone as a sole agent, you would see no gynecomastia and no water gain. But of course we know it's not used alone often, it's used with other steroids. So with classic cutting paradigms and other non-aromatizable steroids, you're going to see primo with halotestin, primo with tren classically used. In the bulking cycles, you're going to see primobolan used with aromatizable steroids, most commonly testosterone. Of course, aromatase inhibitors really won't work for primobolan by itself, but of course, these medicines in PCT are used classically with cycles of men that are using this drug because they're using it with other drugs, with other aromatizable and non-aromatizable steroids. Androgenic. It's a mild androgenic drug, about half that of testosterone. So used alone in men, you would see minimal side effects like hair loss, acne, even sexual side effects. But again, it's usually not used alone. Now, in women, this is amazing. This is a classically utilized drug in women. All women that are in the bodybuilding world, or the physique world, they're going to use this drug from time to different degrees with other drugs. So in women, hair loss, facial hair, clitoral growth. This will depend on if they're using it by itself.
I hate this dude, every cell in my body.
Out the crime statistics?
Not exactly like.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. Like, I don't know. It's like memes. It's just memes to everybody, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't care. I'm playing video games. Okay, I'm done today. I don't give a fuck. God, it's gonna be so fucking gay if I get killed in the next fucking 2 months of shit I'm doing. Well, the cuck shit out here. Please don't anybody make any actual fucking, the most cucked, weak ass, fucking bullshit ass speeches on my side. God, if it happens.
That's great. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
With other agents, and of course, the duration and the dose.
Yes, being sick is going to not be great for gains.
It also is woman per woman. I have heard so many women say that they love it. They use small doses with other drugs, like Anavar, for an example, maybe, and they suffer very minimal side effects. But I think every woman's going to realize, and the truth is that it will change the voice on most women, even in small doses over time. So another amazing fact and feature of primobolan is that it's used to increase the effects of testosterone. Why? That's because anabolic steroids, all of them, and particularly this drug, will lower sexually binding globin. And when you lower sexually binding globin, you're going to increase the free testosterone in the circulation. And of course, with that, you're going to get side effects secondary to the increase in the free testosterone. So, very interesting. And I do have to say that as people think this is not a very suppressive agent, as it's not very heavily androgenic, you will see different degrees of anabolic steroid-induced hypogonadism, even when it's used alone. So please be very, very careful. And this is regardless of using PCT or not. Continued side effects, hepatotoxicity. Very interesting, this drug itself, in the IM form, is not hepatotoxic at all. And even in the oral form, the studies in children showed that it has limited hepatoliver toxicity. But please, again, be very, very careful with this drug, because we really don't know this, and there's not a bunch of studies that are very well done on this for adults, certainly, not to mention children. So in my practice, though, I have seen that men that are using over years, using this drug solely, it really hasn't affected their liver function. Very amazing. But then I see men using it with other agents, and I can't tell what agent is causing the increase in the liver enzymes, and obviously it's going to be usually an oral steroid. The kidney, the renal effects. Most of the renal effects that I see are secondary to water weight gain, inherent issues in genetics for a man, and hypertension. So over years and years of using a steroid, even this steroid, you're going to see effects of hypertension damaging the kidney. The classic condition is focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, and we see this. Now, obviously this is not going to be as renal toxic at all as tren or other big doses of classical use steroids that are used constantly for years, and there's going to be an effect damaging certainly over years and years. Please be very careful. Cardiology effects. This is a classic steroid. It's going to even use by itself, which I have seen independently on lipid analysis for men that are using this. It will lower your natural HDL level. It will increase to different degrees.
Are you worried about getting sick since testosterone inhibits the immune system? I don't know. Are you worried about going outside since crime happens outside? Are you worried about getting into a car accident because if you drive a car, you could get into a car accident? Are you worried about taking a shit because if you take a shit, you could get an anal fissure? Thanks for the stupid question, dude.
Degrees the LDL level. Depending on how sensitive you are, it could even increase hypertension, despite it not being an esterifiable steroid. So there should be no water gain. And most of the hypertension that comes from steroids is definitely from the water gain. We definitely know this. But there's also an effect on the vasoconstrictive effect on the smooth muscle in the arteries throughout the body. This is true. In addition, left ventricular hypertrophy, the actual muscle growth of the heart, you'll definitely see this with all anabolic steroids. This is less anabolic than testosterone, so you'd think it would be safer over years and years and years because it's not going to grow muscle so much, and the heart's a muscle. Again, we just don't know. There are no conclusive studies on this. Heart attacks and endothelial disturbance and possible progression of plaque leading to a heart attack. Again, this is going to be secondary to all the other issues. Advancing plaque is secondary to multifactorial states involving blood pressure, lipids, and of course sugar states, and of course genetics. So please be careful. And in conclusion, this drug is an old classic steroid, still widely used throughout the world. People think it's safe, and the truth is it's not safe. It's less toxic because it's less androgenic, it's less anabolic than the classic steroids, so it's used with other steroids. No one uses this drug really alone. Could you just use it alone? These are questions that are asked of me all the time, and my answer always is, please be very, very careful. I hope this helps. Thank you so much.
Dr. Thomas O'Connor here. I'm glad he made
testosterone plus primobolan. This is something that I see out there. Prostate is the end of the dose. It's a DHT related steroid. If you look at your data, testosterone itself, supplementation doesn't increase the inherent risk of just across the board of a man's ability to potentially have prostate cancer. It's multifactorial. As you get older, that's a risk right there. Family history is a risk. But if you have a prostate cancer and you're on just testosterone, that could grow that. I've seen it. You have to monitor for that with digital rectal examinations, good urology doctors, and of course the PSA. And you can order this on the Anabolic Doc app.
PSA is a garbage test. It doesn't tell you anything. Ultrasound, I don't know why the fuck you'd have somebody stick their fingers up your ass. Just get an ultrasound.
So when you look for a DHT-derived drug, that's going to be, and again, I know that.
Hey VG, feeling better? Try turmeric and ginger tea with lemon and vegan honey. If you ever make vegan speeches you will probably get shot. But the bullets will bounce off your adamantium blood-roided laden skin and ricochet back and kill the shooter.
I am feeling better, but I'm still sick. Usually with my colds, they go through like several day phases. Like day one, I was feeling like absolute shit and my sinuses were really inflamed. Day two, feeling better. I was getting less flu-like symptoms. Sinus inflammation was down, but then I started getting sore throat. Now, my body feels much better. I don't have any like flu symptoms, but my nose is a little stuffed. So I'm assuming by tomorrow I might have a bit of a runny nose, but I'll feel pretty much all better. So I was able to get through a workout and I trained really well. It was a really good session. But I don't have any turmeric and ginger tea. Thanks for the donation, though. Less is more.
It has postcursors that may be weaker than DHT itself, but it's so complicated. The potential for affecting the growth and getting BPH in a large prostate, which is just, not to mention from uncomfortable to dangerous with septic, with urinary obstruction, and then you can get urinary septic because you can't pee and you get a urinary tract infection. And if you're an older man, which we see this in the hospital, that's very deadly stuff. So we use DHT blockers for typically older men that can't pee, and we have to open up their prostates, and we have to maintain those prostates to be open instead of removing them. You just don't remove the prostate, but the sex drive is going to be affected. But you have to weigh these things out. So the
Thoughts on the
prostate.
Crawford fight? People are saying Canelo got robbed and are demanding a rematch. Check out this clip, best shot of the fight. Also fuck you nigga, no offense though.
Crawford won by a mile. It wasn't even close. Yeah. Crawford won by a mile. Like, people are fucking stupid. It was a unanimous decision. Like, people are dumb. Thanks for the donation, faggot.
With DHT-derived drug, that's a concern long term. The dose, guys. The dose is, it's greater, so the dose is going to be for this ratio here. So guys will almost 1-to-1, but it's really not 1-to-1. It's a little more testosterone, so maybe 150 of testosterone to like 100 of primo. That's what they're doing. You know, don't use much more than that. That's your overkill anyway, and you just want to keep all this stuff down to a down low. Hope you guys really like this. I want comments. I want this video to be huge in the world because I know this is going on huge and it's not going anywhere. And I want you guys to access me with the Anabolic Doc app. Thank you so much. I hope this helps you guys.
Hello and welcome to the WVW Productions official support channel. If you're watching this video, it means your cat unit has experienced a malfunction. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. However, this guide will walk you through a few quick solutions to restore functionality and ensure the safety and performance of your unit. Begin by activating safe mode. To do this, gently stroke the unit 3 times behind the left ear. A soft chime and a series of blinking lights will confirm that the ballistic systems have been disarmed. With safe mode active, place the unit on its back on a flat, stable surface. Remove the screws with an LT5 screwdriver with a plastic handle and a demagnetized tip. Alternatively, use a coin. Now that should allow you to open up the panel on the side. Unlike the previous model, which was gas operated, this new model of the unit is nuclear powered. So before proceeding, you'll need to check for any leaks in the nuclear core. To do that, simply wait 3 seconds. If you're still here, it means there is no leak. Next, confirm the unit meets WVW standards. The official WVW Productions insignia should be located above the nuclear core along with the country of origin label. All genuine units are manufactured in Switzerland. To reset the BIOS, insert a paperclip into the pinhole and push until you hear a click. Now, as the BIOS is resetting, unscrew the bolt on the side, then proceed to the front of the cat and slide the panel off. Since the BIOS has been reset, the cat's language preference has also returned to default. To select your preferred language, press the red button located beneath the speaker until the desired language is announced. To begin flashing the BIOS, first turn the lever securing the black cover. This will allow you to take off the cover and access the BIOS control panel. Please note, do not press the large red button under any circumstances. If the button is accidentally pressed, it will trigger the system's self-destruction protocol. In the event this occurs, remain calm and immediately contact the WVW emergency support line on the following easy-to-remember number.
Just call 01189988199119725.
All right. Well, now we know how to fix a cat.
Yeah, it's okay doing one set in HIIT training because you're on steroids. Well, all the pro bodybuilders are on steroids, but actually it's the reverse. What do steroids do? They enhance your recovery ability. So what most bodybuilders do, they're simply overtraining, but they're using steroids, so it's kind of, you can recover from something. Try to train 6 days a week and you're natural. I'm guaranteeing you're not going to grow, not for very long. You won't recover if you train 6 days a week and you're not taking steroids. That's what all the pros don't tell you. Did Dorian Yates take steroids and growth hormone? Yeah, absolutely I did, but I also had what I think is a more efficient training system. I'm not saying that training don't work, that Arnold did or somebody else, because obviously they build a great physique, but they could have done it quicker, more efficiently. If you're not taking steroids, you shouldn't be training more than 3 or 4 times a week for an hour each session. If you're focusing it and you're going properly. Can some guys train a body part twice a week and recover? Apparently some guys can. They're using a lot of stuff. For me, it was just once a week. So each body.
I don't know why he hasn't just figured that it worked for him. It's kind of weird. God, I went to a barbecue.
It's midnight. You're feeling kind of lonely, so you check the notifications on all of your miserable dating apps. And you got nothing, and your Instagram DMs are just as dry. So you ask yourself, how did they do this before they had the internet? You consider the old school way. You go to the bar and chat up the lusty barfly. You know, the one with the, I used to be in bitches. I used to be in bitches. That almost sounded more like Cobra Commander. I was once a man. Well, you know, you're just not up to her standards. So you go home alone. But all hope is not lost. Because maybe when you get home, you're not alone. Gooners beware. You're in for a scare. Because it's time to fuck a ghost.
There's a story in the book, it's hard to ask it, about you having sex with a ghost.
Oh boy, yeah, but this was at a time when I was filming Ghostbusters.
Spectrophilia, also known as phasmophilia, is when a person is attracted to a ghost. These encounters could be as innocent as those between Wendy and Casper the Friendly Ghost, or they can take a darker, more possessive turn. For today's episode of Tales from the Internet, we take a look at some people who've gone on record as having had sexual relations with ghosts. This video is sponsored by Helix. Helix makes premium mattresses and bedding custom fit to your needs and shipped straight to your door, with free shipping in the US. Everyone sleeps differently, so Helix has you take a soon. And ghosts are the perfect companions. They're dead, so they got no bills to pay, and they have all the time in the world. All eternity. So it should be no surprise that a lot of celebrities' encounters with ghosts are described in quirky or charming ways. Lucy Liu's ghost just wanted to watch her sleep. Kesha said her experience was funny and erotic. But then, you know, you got Miley Cyrus, who had a ghost that was watching her shower. That wouldn't be a bad concept for a new Porky's movie. You know, they're all dead, but they're still like frat boy ghosts. In a 2004 interview for FHM magazine, Anna Nicole Smith described ghost sex as initially unsettling, but ultimately amazing. It was so good that she just continued to let it happen. And this theme of amazing sex repeats often in ghost encounters. And it's not something that just the rich and famous can experience. In 2017, a 26-year-old London woman named Sian Jameson bought a cottage in Wales, specifically in a town called Aberystwyth. Having just gotten out of a long-term relationship, everywhere in London reminded her of her ex, so she had to get away. She said that the new scenery was making her feel inspired. Working as a freelance writer, she was more productive than ever before, and found that despite the drastic change from the hustle and bustle of London, going out to the Welsh countryside, she found that she actually wasn't missing anything. And also, she was enjoying the freedom of single life. She told Wales Online,
Where's my headband? I think I got one upstairs. I don't have one down here. Yeah, I don't have one here. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a damn shame. If I relied on doctors, I wouldn't even be here. I'd be at McDonald's probably weighing 3 times more than I do now. Yeah, doctors are fucking useless. If you want to get even more sick, just go to a fucking doctor.
Enjoyed the piece. After a long relationship, being on my own was quite exhilarating. I started to wonder whether I'd ever want a man in my life again. She also noticed that the previous owner of the cottage left behind several books and paintings, and one in particular got her attention. Dated 1820, it depicted what she described as a handsome young man. And after moving to the cottage, she was starting to have increasingly intense sex dreams. So intense that she'd wake up thinking she was still in a relationship, then remember she's single now. But then one morning, after having lived there for several months, she wakes up and notices—
What are your arms measuring in it? I think they're probably still about 18 and a quarter, because I've had that injury, and I haven't been able to train them as hard as I want. Yeah. Yep, they're still about 18 and a quarter. Fuck. Yeah, they're still about 18 and a quarter.
notices a dark-haired, good-looking man in bed next to her. He's fully clothed in a white shirt, scarf, and old-timey breeches. At first, she thinks she's still dreaming, but then she realizes, in the words of Harry Mason, this is not a dream. As I faced the wall, I slowly realized I wasn't asleep, and suddenly, I was frozen with fear. I felt a hand on my waist, but the touch was strange, light and cool. She soon realized—
Please react to the first 5 minutes of this video please and thank you Pookie. You are www// Was there ever a time doctors actually helped people? Why are doctors so unhelpful and even bad for people today? Always trying to get someone's money and not help the patient. What are we supposed to do when we work all the time and no proper health?
I'm pretty sure doctors have always been pretty useless. I don't think it's really a new phenomena. Thanks for the donation, though, Doc Suck.
Good morning to the most beautiful girl I know. Hope you have an amazing, productive day full of joy and happiness. If you need a DoorDash for your lunch, I got you.
Hey, what the f***'s going on? Hey, tonight pick me up by 7 p.m. If I'm not ready, then just wait longer. Also, give me your credit card so it looks like I'm paying for something.
We interrupt this program to prescribe you with 1,000 milligrams of red vitamins.
Right here, right here.
No, reclaim your throne.
Good morning to the most beautiful girl I know.
25, okay? We have a lot of modern women who don't like sweet men, right? Like a lot of women say, oh, you're so sweet, you're so nice. Yeah, modern women do not like that, okay? A lot of times they are wanting to be in a relationship with a guy who mistreats them or doesn't prioritize them, but they want their cake and eat it too, okay? And we're starting to see the evolution of that in real time, where women are now making fun of themselves and realizing, hey, if I, analyze the previous relationships that I've been in, I can see that, okay, yeah, I was actually going for the bad guy. I was actually going for the guy who gave me less attention. I had a good guy in the friend zone and he wanted to date me, but I didn't want to date him because he wasn't exciting enough. He wasn't, he didn't bring any arousal out of me. And this is kind of what modern men have been speaking about for the longest. Just the fact that modern women want to deal with guys who don't prioritize them, who don't necessarily see them as the way that they see themselves, because we all know these women in their own minds will call themselves 10s, that, and the third, but they don't want to be treated like a 10, okay? They want a guy who is more laissez-faire in the approach, but there is one thing, the guy also has to be attractive. So the attractiveness of the man definitely affects how she reacts. But even if you are an attractive man, but you're too nice, you're too kind, you are doing these weird good morning texts, you are, basically trying to butter her up, it almost looks try hard. It also seems very disingenuous. And modern women are able to pick up on that. And that's exactly why we're starting to see more now than ever that they are making their choice, and they're making their choice loud and clear, that they prefer dealing with a guy who not only is pre-selected by other women, but who doesn't prioritize them, who doesn't necessarily put them on a pedestal, and, you know, who isn't your typical nice guy.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
Do you think dating is going to get easier for a man or a woman as they get older?
I think dating in general, like now, is hard. I don't think it gets easier or harder for anyone.
You don't think men have their pick of the litter when they get older because they're more established?
That could be for anybody. It doesn't need to be just a man. Like, anybody of any stature, it really doesn't matter. Like, dating's just going to get harder in general because of how...
Nope. Once women are past their Best Buy date, it's pretty much over.
Oh, like, of stature means you're referring to money? Sure. Right, so like the grind, right, in order to get to like a higher stature requires more like self-control and discipline, therefore they're going to be single for a longer period of time. So like the more people are single, the older they get, and the more they just stop caring about dating.
But don't most women typically have higher standards as they age? And
I don't think, I guess, it depends on the woman, but I think for women, they're more pressed for dating.
Yeah, as soon as women get to 30, most women anyway. Some chicks actually stay in shape and eat well and stuff, but yeah. What ends up happening is all the good-looking, wealthier, better-looking dudes, they end up just dating 20-year-olds. So all the men that they're interested in dating have no interest in them at that point, so it gets harder for women. Well, that was a stupid video from somebody who's not very smart, but, you know.
That this was the man from the painting. He was very gentle and stroked my body tenderly. During the lovemaking, I sensed all kinds of things about him. His name, Robert, and when he lived over 100 years ago. We didn't speak. It was as if he was communicating with me telepathically. His body was soft and light. Even when he moved on top of me, pressing down, he felt almost weightless. It was very strange, but the sex was amazing. I was totally perplexed about what had happened. In fact, I started to wonder whether it had happened at all. That morning, she would follow Robert around her home until he faded out of existence before her very eyes. But Robert would return from the spirit world to dog her out one.
Has your mom said anything about your steroid gains? Has she noticed that you blew up in size? Well, yeah. She's telling me that I shouldn't do any more steroids because I'm already making, like, ridiculous progress.
One more time. It was nighttime, and I was just drifting off to sleep. All of a sudden, the duvet slid off me, and I could feel a cool hand running up my thigh, under my nightshirt. I sobbed after he'd left that night, she confesses. I guess I had fallen in love. She tried to go online and see what she could find out about the painting, but aside from finding another 19th century painting that sort of looked like him, she couldn't find much. After she told her friends about this, they thought she was insane. And as of the publishing of that story, she was now dating a man who was alive. Imagine if during this relationship, Robert comes back and this dude gets cucked by a ghost. It sounds like the concept of a fucking Quan Mills book. Wales Online spoke to a psychotherapist who said that this was likely a product of the transition from sleep to wakefulness causing hallucinations, especially since she'd seemingly been going through some intense emotions following the breakup. But G.L. Davies, the author of a book entitled Ghost Sex, The Violation, had other ideas. No one knows what motivates ghosts to have sex with the living. Are we like lab rats to them? Is there some kind of battle for our souls? Are these ghosts demons trying to break us? Who knows? And then you got Mel Magazine asking an important question. Is ghost dick good? In this article, they interview Patty Negri, an author and psychic. When these boned up spirits are good, they're great. Everything is heightened. It sometimes happens to women who are afraid of intimacy and want to try dating, Negri told Newsweek. Which I guess on some level seems kind of contradictory. Like, oh yeah, you got this natural biological process that's responsible for all of us being here. That's too scary. But you know what's not scary? A fucking glowing monster cock. A lot of these women describe themselves as asexual, or that sex doesn't really a big interest to them, or they've simply given up on human dating. Women going their own way. This theme of the perfect man being a ghost also appears in music. Madonna dropped the song Supernatural as a B-side to her 1989 song Cherish. In the song, Madonna sings about how her ghost lover is way better than any living guy, and she'd even have his ghost baby. And don't mix up that song Supernatural with the other song Supernatural, also about fucking a ghost, the one that's by Kesha. Kesha was inspired to write this song after claiming to have had sexual relations with a ghost.
He wasn't a mean ghost, but he was
like a slutty ghost. He was like, how do I put this appropriately? He was just kind of a hoe.
In a reality TV series, My Crazy Beautiful Life, she even goes.
If I was a ghost, I'd probably just fuck, girls. Because why not? You're a ghost. There's no consequences. They probably want it anyway. So, yeah. If I was a ghost, I'd just fuck women.
Goes as far as to get an exorcist, serious or not, to stop her vagina from being haunted.
Get out of my vagina. Get out of there. Okay, so either my vagina is haunted or I'm pregnant with a ghost baby.
Unlike Madonna, she doesn't want a ghost baby, which apparently it's a thing that can happen, but you can't bring the ghost baby to full term. So it's kind of like this one manga that I read on 4chan back in the day. There's a bunch like this, but the one I remember, this chick gets pregnant, and she just stays pregnant forever, and there's this like last panel where you see the back of her, she turns around and she's old with a throbbing, eternally pregnant belly. Kesha has told these sex stories to multiple outlets.
Go to the Bone Zone with a ghost.
But then in 2022, while doing promotion for her paranormal reality show, Kesha admitted that she might have embellished the story a little bit. You see, she actually didn't bone a ghost dude as she had originally said. She wasn't bouncing on the ghost cock. No, you see, the ghost wasn't a dude. It was a dead broad, fucking a hooer, and it wasn't sex. It was, as she described, a sensual wake-up. No comment on if it grabbed the brush and put a little makeup. Speaking of a sensual wake-up, though, how about that one scene from Ghostbusters? The one where it pops open Dan Aykroyd's pants. Based on a true story, apparently. Dan Aykroyd, in real life actually an ardent believer in the supernatural, claims to have experienced several encounters with ghosts. Some of the sexy variety.
You fucked a ghost? I think I was being come on to there, but anyway.
Dan Aykroyd fucked a ghost.
And then in another interview with Esquire magazine, Dan elaborates on one of the ghost encounters. I was alone in the house and decided to take a nap. I closed the door to the bedroom but didn't lock it. I woke up in this kind of trance, where you don't know whether you're sleeping or not. It's what the abductee feels when he's being taken. I saw the door open, and I rolled over and looked.
How big do you think Arnold's arms actually were? He claimed 22 inches or something ridiculous, but a lot of people think it was really 19.5 or 19.75. 22 is pretty huge, but Arnold did have pretty ridiculously huge arms. It can be really hard to tell. Like the actual shape of somebody's arm can make it look way bigger than it really is. I had a friend who's vegan and natural, and he had 20-inch arms. And we measured them at the gym without a pump. They were actually 20 inches. He did not look like he had Arnold Schwarzenegger arms, but he had really big arms. He was a taller dude. Like, I think he was 6'1 or 6'2. So, like, the peak, he didn't have as big of a peak, but his arms were still really large looking. So, Arnold's arms probably were over 20. I don't think they were below 20.
Looked at the bed, and I saw the depression in the
He was lean. He was definitely sub 15% body fat. I would guess like around 13. Dodo donate $2. Please watch 26:45 to 29.
All right, you guys, we're gonna jump right into the.
Do I have to? Like, is there any fucking point to this? 26:45. If this is stupid, I'm just turning it off. This is gonna be fucking retarded.
The internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing is—it's not only insane. I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying this. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this, but they go. They have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And you know, over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things, that continued actually up to the Holocaust. The Nazis said the same thing. You know, we're carrying vermin, we're spreading disease. And people believed it. And every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust.
Ah, well, he's mentioned the Holocaust. Guess we can't prod the narrative any further, guys. Holocaust, so everybody...
Yeah, I'm done.
Mattress. Like somebody was getting in there. And I thought, I'm just going to roll over and snuggle up next to it. You spooned a ghost? Yeah, maybe that guy was gay, and he wanted to have some fun. I'd be surprised if I was his type, but when you're dead, take what you can get. And the real-life Ghostbusters sex story don't end with just Dan Aykroyd. Here's Bobby Brown, who sang the track On Our Own from the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack, and now this track is, by the way, horribly stuck in my head. Anyway, here he is talking about being molested by a ghost.
There's a story in the book, it's hard to ask it, about you having sex with a ghost.
Oh boy, yeah. But this was at a time when I was filming Ghostbusters.
And you had sex with the ghost of the
Yes. Well, I had no choice. I was mounted.
Oh, she mounted you?
Yes.
I guess if you're involved with Ghostbusters, something strange is gonna happen in your neighborhood. Busting makes you feel good. But you know, some people aren't just in it for the ghost sex. They need a little bit more out of life. Like a British...
I heard Matt Dillahunty say on a live stream the other day that he cares a lot about climate change. Is he vegan? Or just another retard liberal who only cares about issues enough to post about it on social media?
He's obviously not vegan. Thanks for the donation, Barney.
Singer named Brocard. She married a Victorian ghost named Eduardo, who she described as devilishly handsome. You'd think this was a relationship built to last. I mean, who are you to doubt Eduardo? He's a ghost, it's not like he's got anywhere else to be. And as a ghost, you probably don't have that many options. You know, a lot of guys talk about how they feel invisible in the modern dating climate. But Eduardo is literally invisible. But somehow, despite the obstacles, Eduardo still managed to be a cheater. And he did that cheating with Marilyn Monroe.
On our wedding day, he made really, really inappropriate comments about spotting the ghost of Marilyn Monroe in the church. And as you can imagine on your wedding day, your groom.
These people are just attention-seeking dumbasses.
Rude comment about anyone, any female, anyone at all.
It could have been the perfect crime. Because, you know, who on this mortal coil talks to ghost Marilyn Monroe? She can't exactly post about him on the T app. But Brocard wasn't fooled when Eduardo floated in smelling like Marilyn Monroe's favorite perfume, Chanel No. 5. According to her website, the couple tried to make it work. She hired a spiritual medium to provide marriage counseling, but 6 months later, ghost divorce. Now she can spend her time with her coven of witches traveling to Vakken open air.
What do you mean obviously? How am I supposed to know he's not vegan?
I don't know, maybe from the fucking debate I had with him on veganism and the debates he's had with Alex O'Connor on veganism, where he keeps trying to cope for eating meat. Maybe something to do with that. Thanks for the donation, Barney.
You don't want to listen to that video, but the Jews were giving babies circumcisions and sucking the blood from the baby as tradition. They pushed heavily for abortion, still circumcising children to this day. Listen to the video, stop being a coward.
No, thanks for the donation.
They conduct a special seance in memory of Lemmy from Motorhead, and there's no word on if Ghost Lemmy hit. Age difference, of course, is a common occurrence with ghost hookups. The paranormal lover is generally much, much older, sometimes even centuries older, which I guess is, you know, for the better. It's already more sad when a child dies. But then imagine a child dies and he's all hyped to be one of those creepy ghost kids like from the movies, only to find out that the person he's been assigned to haunt is EDP-445. But then, you know, I guess any ghost hooking up with a human is kind of exploiting a power dynamic because they literally have powers. But yeah, ghost age apps. A reader of 7 Days, Vermont named Casper Knoodler writes, Dear Reverend, I bought an old house 6 months ago. At the closing, the previous owners gave me a photo of the man who built it. The house, which they believe still haunts the place, was built in the 1920s. I've definitely felt his presence here, and lately, I've been having very vivid erotic dreams about him. I'm fine with that, but I'm not sure if they're dreams. Is it possible I've been having sex with a ghost? The Reverend's response? I suppose anything is possible. This isn't the only tale with a 1920s ghost. Just something about the 1920s, it produced extra sexy dead guys. We've got this story from Slate magazine. My friend thinks she's having sex with a ghost named John from the 1920s. A reader of their sex advice column sends a message explaining that during COVID lockdowns, he'd been speaking to a friend from across the country who said she'd been pleasuring herself thinking of a man who lived in her apartment in the 1920s. At first, he thinks this is like, a fantasy of hers. She's just getting off to something she imagined. It's kind of like some guys will fantasize about the random cashier they saw at Trader Joe's that day, but for women it's dead guys from paintings. She later clarifies though, no, this isn't a fantasy. She means the actual ghost.
Look how much Maui is changed over a 9-year period.
This is a 3-year-old Maui in 2016. Look.
Oh my goodness. So slim.
Look at how lean he is.
Yeah, what happened? He got fat.
Look at the spots. Look at his eyes. 2016. And this is my boy. Right after I brought him home from the shelter.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Maui.
Wow.
And now...
Oh my god, he's a big chonko.
Behold the transformation from...
Wow, he's becoming more orange-like. He's turning into an orange. He's rounder now. Before, he was more elongated. He was only orange-colored. Now he's orange-shaped.
2016 as a 3-year-old orange tabby straight out of the shelter to now in the lap of luxury. And, well, to say he's well-fed, some people would have another opinion about that. But, I'm just letting Maui do Maui.
Wow, such a chonko. Thanks for the donation, Leave though. Jason, donate tillers go to 27 minutes. Dude's back is literally purple. 27. Yeah, when you get that large, you end up getting hypoxia. Yeah, this happens when Jay Cutler also had this. You can get so massive that blood doesn't flow through your body adequately when you're training, and your back can end up turning purple. Or blue. This is Nick Walker, right? Yeah. I don't know why people keep hyping Nick Walker up. Honestly, like, yeah, he's huge and everything. It's impressive how much muscle mass he has, but in terms of bodybuilding, he just has one of the most unappealing, like, unaesthetic physiques I've ever fucking seen. But yeah, thanks for the donation, Jason. How do you feel about Mike Menser's hit system? Seems like it's gaining a lot of popularity lately. Yeah, it's because people are lazy and they don't want to train much. You'll build muscle lifting weights. That's all you can really say about Mike Menser's hit training. Doesn't mean it's ideal.
Of a man who's there in her apartment with her as she quarantines alone. And she starts talking to him about John more. John said this. John did this. John is having a bad day. Then as the months go on and things start to open back up, she starts talking about meeting up with an old fling, and she's worried that John will get jealous. She also starts posting about John on social media. All of her real-life friends are seeing this, and they're asking, hey, did she start dating someone new?
Speaking of mass, how big are you gonna get?
Big as fuck. That's the goal. Thanks for the donation, though.
Basically, this guy had written to the advice column to find out if he should be concerned about his friend's mental health. To which they responded he should ask a question to kind of gauge how serious they are about this. If she's aware of how ridiculous this sounds, and if she's been taking any kind of psychedelic drugs. And of course, this wouldn't be the only lockdown ghost sex story. Historically, ghost sex has been attributed to entities like succubi and incubi, but in fact it seemed like the COVID-19 lockdowns correlated with a major increase in ghost busting. You know, people talk about long COVID, but these chicks they were getting the real long COVID. On May 14th, 2020, the New York Times published an article entitled "Quarantining with Ghosts. It's Scary." For those who believe they're locked down with spectral roommates, the pandemic has been less isolating than they bargained for. The article details the stories of several people who claim to be seeing ghosts in their apartments during lockdown. They speak to John L. Tenney from the show Ghost Stalkers, who noticed an increase in reported hauntings since the lockdown. He noted that he'd seen a similar surge during the Y2K panic, but he also noted that a likely explanation is now that these people are spending a lot more time alone at home, they're noticing all the sounds that a house normally makes that they just hadn't been aware of. Bricks and woods expanding as the temperature changes. It's not that the house wasn't making those sounds, they just never had the time to notice it. Still, even if these people are imagining the hauntings, there's nothing imaginary about busting a fat nut. And in the loneliness of quarantine, a lot of people pined for it. You can see this in a couple stories published to The Cut by writer Amanda Arnold. She described reading that New York Times article and feeling a little jealous. In particular, she was touched by a story where one of the haunted people woke up to a camera lens that she had previously lost and couldn't find. A gift from a friendly ghost. She concludes the article by saying, "Actually, let me extend a formal invitation to all lonesome ghosts without a place to call home. The walls of my apartment are yours to pass through. If ghosts are bothering humans more than usual right now, which appears to be the case, as reports of haunted houses are apparently on the rise, that must mean the ghosts are lonely and looking for company too." But it was clear that the isolation was gradually taking a toll on poor Amanda, as a couple months later she published,
I'm not going to play GTA 4. The PC version of GTA 4 is broken. Doesn't really work. You can't even beat the game.
Ghost is a perfect quarantine sex partner. I'm just picturing the ghost comes to haunt and it's scared off by this ravenous woman, gone mad after being denied sex for half a year by the government. To be fair, in the article she clarifies that she doesn't necessarily believe in ghosts and she's not desperate to fuck a ghost, but rather that if you did fuck a ghost, it's about as safe as it gets. Katie Heaney and Ariana Raboli for the website BuzzFeed would recount their own paranormal one-night stand, even following the professional advice given to them on how to attract and seduce a ghost into hooking up with them. How to make sure that, while doing something dangerous like this, you don't accidentally attach a succubus to you. But basically, ladies, if you want to attract...
The new GTA is only coming out on consoles first. I don't know when the PC version's gonna come out, so no, I'm not playing GTA when it comes out, because I'm not buying a stupid PlayStation for it.
Attract a ghost to fuck. You gotta dress a little sexy, not you're just lounging around your house. However, there are professional paranormal scholars providing this kind of advice to people. After moving to the US from Hong Kong, Dr. Ben Hung published A Guide to Ghost Sex. Although something about Ben's Amazon biography tells me he may not actually be a doctor in the traditional sense. Next to a picture of his bare chest, he tells us that he likes to jet ski, in the nude, and he once used his book royalties to buy his mother a 99-cent hamburger. The good doctor's other published works include Becoming the Night's Bitch, Gay Zombies Are Stalking Me, There's a Ghost Up My Butt, Robotic Aliens Who Like Wearing Women's Underwear, Napoleon's Boner Party. Elvis really is an alien and he helped a toaster pastry seduce me. He might actually be onto something when it comes to Elvis. Paz de la Huerta from Boardwalk Empire in 2011 claimed she got an orgasm in Graceland from Ghost Elvis. It was like Elvis was tickling me with a feather. Honestly, more believable.
These people are just retards who want attention.
In Hulk Hogan's Elvis story. So what do people actually feel when they get intimate with spirits? According to celebrity interviews and talk show conventions, they feel intense pressure.
When
Did you feel anything on your body?
I did.
you
I
feel
felt a form.
And in Brocard's experience, a burning sensation.
And it passed really, really slowly throughout my stomach, all the way down my legs, like this sort of burning.
And they woke up feeling refreshed.
I had slept beautifully. I woke up and...
Maybe better than ever?
Pretty good.
The hosts of these shows, while struggling to appear non-judgmental, ask, "So, do you feel something or is this just a mood change? What do you mean you gave up real lovers to get them a bunch of ghost hookups?" There's always someone going, "I swear I'm not crazy," while the hosts are barely hiding, rolling their eyes.
You had sex with a ghost?
A ghost, yeah. I wasn't high.
That was my next question.
Oprah does a better job pretending that she's interviewing a real Ninja Turtle than going along with the idea that this woman hooked up with a ghost.
I was in the midst of a very intensive sexual experience.
When it comes to their sexual experience, it's all about the vibe from the spirit. There can be a sense of warmth, cold, love, or just feel plain invasive. However, not always consistent. It may just feel like an energy passing through you, or it's an unseen grip and pressure on you, as if it were invisible. No two stories seem the same, leading to a lot of skepticism. Ghost researcher Alexandra Holzer told the Huffington Post that the people who report having sex with a ghost report feeling pressure on them and even penetration, but ghosts don't have warmth. When they're in the room, it's a frigid environment. And honestly, a lot of ghost sex stories seem kinda rapey. Coco Austin, the wife of Ice-T, talked about a ghost that tried to lift up her nightie. Kinda like that old Japanese trend, sharking. Cardi B is on record saying that a ghost had been trying to have sex with her.
I'm so alone in this house with this fucking ghost that clearly wants to fuck me because he only comes around when I'm here and by myself. And I'm just gonna call my security guard to put me in a fucking hotel because I just can't fucking take it anymore, bitch.
Dude, Cardi B is such a fucking idiot.
According to folklorist David Hufford,
bro, if I was a ghost, like, as if I'd want to be around Cardi B. Give me a fucking break.
15% of people claim to have been assaulted in their sleep by an unknown ghost-like entity. Typically, the ghost will force itself on the sleeping and or dreaming individual. Most people who report ghost sex feel violated and cold. The 1982 movie The Entity was inspired by the 1974 real-life case of Doris Bither, a woman in Culver City, California, who claimed a supernatural invisible entity assaulted her. This person also had a history of drug abuse and physical abuse. You got an Irish woman named Amanda Teague. In 2014, Amanda, who worked as a Jack Sparrow impersonator, would encounter the ghost of a 300-year-old Haitian pirate named Jack, a likely name for a 300-year-old Haitian to have. And she told People magazine that with the help of a medium, she'd learn more about Jack, particularly that while he was alive, he'd been left at the altar, and he was executed for thievery. Over the course of 6 months, the recently divorced mother of 5 found herself falling in love with the Haitian ghost. Eventually, her relationship with the Haitian pirate gets more intense. Jack fills her up with his ectoplasm. Well, as a traditional Irish lass, Amanda demands more. Growing up in Ireland, in my era, you were taught that if a man bedded you, he should wed you, she says. I knew from my research that spiritual marriage was a thing, so it was more me that wanted to get married than him. He would have been happy, like most men, with just sex. I'm just picturing this scenario, and don't take this as me saying that all Irish people are racist, because I know that's not true, but I'm just imagining she starts talking to her friends about this, as she tells them that she's getting married, and it's to a 300-year-old Haitian pirate ghost. And they're just like, wait, what? You're getting married? To a Haitian? But fortunately for her, her friends weren't like that, and they participated in a lovely wedding ceremony, even including the Haitian wedding tradition of jumping over a broom. And although she was lucky to have supportive friends and family, she was a bit taken aback at how the general public reacted to this. The reaction I got is quite shocking, really, she says. But apparently, we are not yet open-minded enough in society to accept relationships between us and other realms. She would later go on the BBC program, The Morning Studio.
It's bizarre this horse shit actually gives people attention. Dude, if ghosts were real, everyone would know about it. It would be proven and it'd be used like by the military. Imagine how useful of a military advantage it would be to be able to talk to ghosts. You know, you're talking about like $1 trillion a year fucking budget for the US military. If ghosts were real, the US military would know how to talk to fucking ghosts, and they'd be doing it all the time. So imagine being able to know who's alive or dead, being able to talk to dead soldiers, ask them how they died, where enemy troop positions are. Like, the possibilities strategically would be fucking endless. So, yeah. If ghosts were real, guess what? the U.S. military would be using ghosts to kill more fucking people, but they don't, because they don't exist.
Mark Kerr was supposed to be the most glorious success story ever.
This gigantic man that they call the smashing machine. It was like this unstoppable force.
Highs from the sport are like no other highs in the world. I was 11-0.
Considered the best mixed martial arts fighter in the world.
12,000 people out there cheering for you. That's orgasmic. That's like high. A lot of eyes were on me to do great things.
So, where did it
to carry myself as that, to give other wrestlers behind me a path to follow?
Your wrestling pedigree and what you did for
You said Charlie was based on Israel. Just this week he posted an interview with Ben Shapiro where he asks a bunch of leading questions that get increasingly wild, borderline anti-Semitic from 609 on.
He's probably just grifting.
I know that at this from an American perspective, what else would you say things could have been handled differently? Maybe on the PR front, maybe also just on a conduct front. Where would you say, as an outsider, things that could have been handled better, more efficiently, or with more precision?
Yeah, he's probably doing this because he realizes a lot of his audience is anti-Semitic, and this is just grifting. I'm assuming. Thanks for the donation, though, retard.
So, number one, there's no such thing as a perfect war. So, obviously, in any war, there's operational superiority over the Gaza Strip. If it wanted to level the place and turn it into a parking lot October 8th, it certainly had the military capacity to do so. It has not done.
Yeah, sure, blah, blah, blah.
Israel is committing genocide. How do you respond to that, Ben?
There's literally no definition of genocide.
Ben Shapiro, author of Lions and Scavengers. We're going to get to that in a second. I have one or two other questions on Israel. I think it's very important for our audience to hear this, though, because there is an incessant campaign. And one thing a friend sent to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so like maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are...
That's not what he's doing there. He's clearly not asking leading questions. Thanks for the donation, though, retard. Dim Sung Demon Cunt donated 218. Rip Charlie Kirk, my nigga. What do you think of his death? Stop asking me that question.
wrestling coming into MMA. I don't think he'll ever be matched.
You should know that not only was Mark an NCAA champion, but he defeated Randy Couture to earn that title in 1992. However, wrestling didn't just give Mark these amazing accolades or just give him the realization that he needed something else to make money. The sport also gave him a very important friend.
I knew Mark Kerr for a long time because I wrestled him in 1988.
You know, I ran into Mark when I wrestled, so I had an opportunity to compete against him, and you know, I was a lot younger than he was.
I beat him 3 times in wrestling, and I beat him in practice all the time.
We were competitors, friends also. We trained together.
Mark is actually
in the hallway to go up, and he has a Ziploc bag full with M&M's, butterscotch, and he's like this. I go, dude, stop eating that. And now it makes me feel good. I go, it's so bad for you.
Greg Stott, and he takes on Mark Kerr.
My name's Greg Ranger Stott. Currently, I'm a hand-to-hand instructor and a founder of my own style, which we call RIP. And it's the most expeditious and effective form of hand-to-hand combat in the world. RIP rules, and all others rest in peace.
The Ranger goes down.
One knee. That's one knee.
That is over. It is over.
At 19 seconds by knockout, Mark the Smashing Machine.
The fastest victory in UFC history at 19 seconds. How are you feeling now going into the finals?
Demon cunt, don't you tell us it's my first time asking. Fuck you, Niggy. Are you a beta leftist saying he deserved to be shot? Some creep. I just stop asking me the question, dude. People have asked me that stupid dumb fuck question a million times. Sick of answering. Thanks for the donation. Kid Boo, donate $2. Would you say I have good taste in anime? Yeah, really. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo. Dr. Berg donated $3.
The 7 worst foods for your skin. Number 1, skim milk. Milk can really...
I would just say milk, period. Absolutely is known to trigger acne.
interact with your hormones to increase your risk of acne. Number 2, seed oils. Very
Seed oils are not bad for your skin.
high in omega-6, super
Omega-6 is an essential fat.
inflammatory
Omega-6 is not inflammatory.
for your skin. Number 3, bread. Whether it's
Bread is not bad for your skin.
wheat bread or white bread. The starch in that bread turns into sugar and combines
Literally any macronutrient you eat can technically turn into sugar.
with your collagen. It creates something called glycation, which can cause wrinkles and make you look older. Number
That's not how that works.
4, artificial sweeteners greatly disrupt your microbiome, which directly affects the microbiome on your skin, creating a lot of problems.
What do you...
Number 4, artificial sweeteners.
So, first of all, there's artificial sweeteners and there's non-nutritive sweeteners. Not all non-nutritive sweeteners are artificial, so I don't even know what he fucking means by this.
Greatly disrupt your microbiome.
They don't.
Which directly affects the microbiome on your skin.
It doesn't.
And creating a lot of problems. Number 5, processed meat. Processed meat has a lot of chemicals and
I would agree with
nitrates,
that one.
which are not good for you. It sometimes has maltodextrin, which is a starch. Definitely not good for your skin. Number 6 is soy protein. This is a
I might eat more soy protein than anybody in the world. And I'd say my skin is fabulous. So, no. Soy protein, good. Eric Berg, dumb.
highly concentrated industrial protein. My viewpoint, it's not meant for human consumption. It's made with hexane, which is a solvent, and
There is microscopic levels of hexane in soy protein. It doesn't do anything.
soy is high in omega-6, which is
omega-6 is good for you. It's an essential nutrient, and it's not inflammatory.
pro-inflammatory.
It is not. Soy protein also isn't high in omega-6. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. He's talking about protein powder. Look at the label on the protein powder and see how much fat is in it. It's basically 0 because it's protein.
Number 7 is fruit juice. I'm not just talking about high fructose corn syrup. I'm talking about just juice.
Well, fruit juice, it's basically just sugar. I'd say it's mostly neutral if you're talking about like actual fruit juice. Some people do break out from fruit juice just because they're very sensitive to added sugar, but
in general. First of all, it's pasteurized, so they kill everything in it. Secondly, there's a lot of sugar in it, just as much as soda. Half of that sugar is fructose, which goes right to your liver. And the negative
that's not how that works.
effect on your liver really damages your skin.
That's great. Eric Berg's an idiot. He's a fucking chiropractor and he's a Scientologist. The guy's just a dork. Thanks for the donation, Dr. Berg. Dodo donated $2. Let me see. At my 30-year high school reunion, majority Mormon church. Everyone was basically the same. Middle person. I don't care. I don't care about this stupid post. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Demon cunt something. Sorry, Niggy. I don't watch all your streams, you coonbag. Just give your opinion and that's it. Also, do you think MILF is inflammatory? Rip Charlie. Thanks for the donation, dude. Retard donated $2. No words.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Do you see...
Aren't these the same people who said there's no such thing as hate speech?
More law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action.
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across.
So we went from hate speech doesn't exist to we're going to arrest anybody who says hate speech. Okay. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Can't be bothered to link her, but have you seen how quickly Candace has started blaming Israel for Kirk's assassination?
Well, yeah, she's an anti-Semite, so what do you expect? I think Dodo linked me a video. I can't be fucked. Just let her say whatever anti-Semitic nonsense she wants and let her get banned from YouTube and then have to go to Kick and then get banned from Kick too, so she's just an idiot. Thanks for the donation. Where's my do-rag at? BG, how are these communist China shills are allowed into a congressman's office? Why are they even allowed at the Capitol? Can anyone just go into Congress people's offices? How are they not banned?
A congressman from Maryland and the former majority leader. In addition, I've been to Israel now 22 times.
We're about to go into the office of Steny Hoyer, a representative who has been leading trips to Israel 22 times. 22 times.
Yeah, I don't know how this ends up happening, like, especially with the political assassinations that are going on. You would think there'd be some sort of security measures to prevent people from doing this. I don't know. I don't know how this sort of thing gets set up. It's pretty weird. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Code Pink are a bunch of fucking cunts. It's too bad they didn't get fucking politically assassinated. In Minecraft, of course. Demon Chicken Balsung donated 218. Chat, what was his opinion on Kirk's death? Also, fuck Candace Owens, stupid N-word. Thanks for the donation.
I feel good. I didn't really expend a lot of energy. The nerves are down now. You know, I feel good. I feel good tonight.
Whenever Greg Scott wakes up, somebody asks him if he still stands by his RIP combat system. But in any case, with his first match easily out of the way, Mark Kerr was now in the finals of the UFC 15 heavyweight tournament.
You know, in the ring, my thoughts are pretty pure. I'm gonna hurt him before he hurts me, and if he hurts me, I'm gonna hurt him twice as bad.
I need to enforce my will on you until you give it to me. And that, what you're giving to me is your will.
There's like two reactions you can have from
and they start elbowing him in the neck.
See, these elbows to the back of the neck, that's not legal. That is not legal, and so Kerr is really getting rough.
He freaking ripped him off the ropes, and then he slammed him on the floor, and he started freaking annihilating the guy.
This got real personal real quick. It took 3 referees to pull Kerr off of Uncle Sickatitch. Mark Kerr apparently has won by disqualification.
Dodo donated apparently you can send 20 CCP agents into a high-ranking congressman's office, and they won't even get kicked out or charged with a crime. VG, please explain how the fuck Code Pink is allowed into their office. What the fuck? How is that not a huge national security vulner? I don't know, dude. I'm not sure. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
And rightfully so.
That was the thing with Mark. He was such a sweetheart. But once the snap came, it was so violent.
Just would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and apologize for the fight and the rope grabbing. I came out here tonight to show you for my first time in Japan.
Going into the fight with my blood pressure, it was like 150 over 125, and they
Whoa. 125 systolic. That's crazy.
cleared me to fight. Literally, the doctor, I remember the doctor looked at me and goes, a little high. Yeah, you're good.
Mark.
Yeah, that's not a little high. That's hypertensive crisis.
The specimen, Kerr, undefeated in mixed martial arts.
No one can sustain that level of juice for more than a few years.
Cardiologist who's a friend of mine, he goes, you should have stroked out, you should have bled from your eyes, bled from your ears, you should have, I mean, all these different scenarios that something should have happened.
Here we go. He could have ripped his arm off right now. He was screaming already. He continues to be undefeated in mixed martial arts, and the sky's the limit for this young man.
The sky was indeed the limit for Mark Kerr. But knowing what we know now,
he falls apart.
It's so scary to begin with, you know, and then to take some of the fear out of it, you know, you end up doing some things that you don't want to do.
They went to him to film a documentary when Kerr was on top of the world, smashing people. And what they found is a guy who is just about to lose it.
You know, benzodiazepines and, you know, Percocets, and then you start getting the liquid injectable stuff, you know, and they're all opiates.
As I started to get into, you know, high levels of competition, the thing that my body wanted was it didn't want to feel pain. So eventually I used narcotics like Vicodin and stuff like that.
That guy was on a million different drugs.
It takes some of my fear away, some of my anxiety.
He was like shooting up in front of them. He was doing drugs in front of them, slamming painkillers into his fucking veins.
Of pressure I put on myself to perform and, you know, not to seek healthy ways to do rehab for my body, wanting the instant relief.
As far as the pain threshold, my pain threshold was off the scale.
Yeah, Candace accused this Jewish mega donor of blackmailing Charlie, and the guy responded with a long-ass tweet explaining Charlie wanted to get a bunch of conservatives together to discuss the growing dissent among the youth towards Israel, and that's it.
Yeah, like Candace is just a lying fucking idiot. She, you know, she's gonna keep ramping up this anti-Semitic bullshit, and she's just gonna get banned from YouTube eventually. Like, at some point, she's just gonna cross the line. Thanks for the donation, though, retard.
I mean, I can get hit pretty damn hard and just keep going on.
Through the years of competing, I have competed at less than I would consider my top level because of narcotic use.
So I would just dope myself up to a point where basically functioning on all these injuries that should be addressed and totally ignoring it, masking it with doing payment.
That's it, man. It's going to be over. Trust me. Yeah, well, that's what's happening. He's really starting to put a beating on him now. And Hugo's trying to jump out of the ring. The fight's over. He doesn't want to fight. He just doesn't want to fight.
even while under the influence of his addiction, Mark Kerr was still able to decimate his
A lot of eyes were on me to do great things.
On the other side of the coin, Kerr has never faced a striker possibly as dangerous as Igor Vovchanchyn. This is a monumental battle.
I knew it before I even went in the ring. Mark barely trained for this fight. 2 weeks prior to this fight, we were out drinking, partying.
I was in no condition to fight.
He was able to take down Igor Vovchanchyn relatively easy, but he couldn't pass his guard and couldn't finish him.
Igor was the type of guy that literally you'd have to beat him to death to get him to quit.
Would never pass the guard, never tried passing the guard. Vovchanchyn had a decent guard. He had a good survival guard. And Mark Kerr admittedly never worked on passing. He just felt that he could just stay on the guard and pound someone, but he couldn't do it to Vovchanchyn. And then eventually, after a couple stand-ups, he was tired and he couldn't take him down no more.
Big right hand by Vovchanchyn.
Mark Kerr was folding, and that's when Igor Vovchanchyn lit him up.
Was there a controversy with that fight?
Oh, there's controversy with Vovchanchyn that he need me.
The illegal knee.
Yeah.
A big knee by Vovchanchyn. Another knee to the top of the head, and Kerr is out. Oh my God! Kerr has been knocked out by Igor Vovchanchyn.
I think it was a foul. There are no knees allowed in the ground. He's an old force.
Right. The referee has raised Igor Vovchanchyn's arm in victory.
Oh, Igor illegally kneed him to the head.
Vovchanchyn foul, no stop. Vovchanchyn foul again, no stop. And then I'm on the ground, getting ready for him to call foul. He said match over. Wrong.
Changed the rules so much, knees were illegal at the time, so he knocked Kerr out with a knee. They called it a no contest.
He will come back. He's still a champion. He's a champion in my mind. He always will be.
Who does that to somebody you love?
I mean, I'm devastated, absolutely devastated. Tears start coming down and I just start like this. It's just a different type of emotional, like you just no control over it.
And you don't have any strong pain medication, narcotics, like opiates or like... No.
Despite this fight being ruled a no contest, Mark was knocked unconscious in the ring. We all saw what it looks like for the Smashing Machine.
You can trace it, and it has a distinct pathology, and at the end of all that pathology is death.
Mark's been admitted to the hospital because they're not sure that he's going to make it. He can't stay awake for more than 30 seconds.
I got so bad at one point, the doctors had said there was nothing medically they could do.
I think he pretty much went wild, went crazy, just did everything he could get his hands on.
I overdosed twice.
I asked the doctor, is he going to be okay? And the doctor told me they don't know, that's why he's in here.
A lot of people go down that road of addiction and they never come back.
If this doesn't fucking shake you up, man, I don't know what's gonna find out.
And if you don't fucking get some help, you're not gonna see the new year, man. You're not gonna make it.
And from there, it progressed into me understanding that I had a problem, understanding that it wasn't gonna go away by itself, that if I was gonna survive, that it would be my body that had to fight it.
After this health scare, Mark checked into a 28-day drug rehab. This did postpone a very important fight for him, which I'll get to shortly, but it was far more important for Mark to take his sobriety seriously, which, whether he knew it or not, posed a different set of problems.
I think losing to Igor.
This is going to attack him real aggressive. You have to watch out.
Ensign Inoue from Shuto versus Mark Kerr.
Let Ensign come and go back. Just don't let him hit you, and then take him down and hit him in the head.
And there it is, Mark Kerr on a majority decision.
Mark Kerr completely shut down Ensign Inoue with a classic takedown and smash decision to earn a spot in the Grand Prix. Keep in mind that Mark Coleman also won his qualifying round, but the Grand Prix was 5 months from now. So to kill some time in between, Kerr decided to compete in ADCC once again.
I fight Ensign Inoue in January 2000. I do Abu Dhabi in either late March or early April. So that's 8 bouts.
And I'm proud of what I did in ADCC.
Mark won both the heavyweight and absolute divisions of ADCC in the year 2000, making him a 3-time ADCC champion.
And using and me being in the environment, it's just a matter of time. I just feel really uncomfortable in the relationship. I mean, continuously, a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing. You know, I just want the hell out of this thing.
Me and Mark Kerr were supposed to meet in the semifinals of the Pride Grand Prix. That is one of the fights that everybody wishes they could have saw. Me and Kerr, yeah, it would have been epic.
I just try not to think about him or our friendship because it is something that's going to be difficult.
The saying that I have is when I train, I don't train my body, I train my mind. And I think that comes into play.
One of the fights that Mark fought was a pride fight against Fujita.
Kerr was supposed to destroy Fujita.
I knee that motherfucker 4 times in the face. He staggers and then just keeps coming forward, literally in my head. And I don't do this when I'm fighting. I go, oh,
Despite Mark doing well early with his top control and ground and pound, Fujita was undeterred, eventually getting top control himself, where he relentlessly attacked the smashing machine for minutes on end.
Fujita had Mark down. He was down on all fours, and Mark didn't move. He couldn't move, and he was getting rocked.
Well, he's doing nothing. He's just covering up. He's not thinking or anything, and he's just taking shots.
On his face, you could see that Mark was still with it. He had his wits, but he was getting rocked.
Kerr's got to do something. Fujita is not letting him think, though. As soon as Kerr makes a move, he starts nailing him.
I said, well, what was going through your mind at that time? He said, I didn't want to let anybody down.
Kerr is doing virtually nothing at this point. I can't imagine that Mr. Kazuyuki...
Retard donated $3. Hundreds of Russian soldiers surrounded in 2 pockets on the eastern front north of Pokrovsk. Russian command denied their pleas to retreat. Mass surrender possible in coming days. Ukrainian offensive threatens to encircle much larger. Well, that's some good news. Ukraine struck Russia's 2nd largest oil refinery, completely knocked offline Russia's oil terminal in the Baltic Sea. Mass disruptions, panic in Russia, and 66% of Russians polled by the Levada Center are now willing to publicly say they want the war in Ukraine to immediately end. Okay, well, more good news. Donald Trump skips the Kennedy Center's vigil for Charlie Kirk, choosing instead to enjoy the weekend away at his golf club. Yeah, he never gave 2 shits about Charlie Kirk. Donald Tusk. Just now, State Protection Service neutralized a drone operating over government buildings. Barkawa and Belwilder, 2 Belarusian citizens were detained. Police are investigating. Alright, well, thanks for the donation, retard. Yeah, Russia is definitely not gonna win the war.
Fujita will not get the victory.
He lost to Fujita, shockingly.
Mark's first official loss of his career is a very painful watch. Even though he didn't get finished, he appeared very broken. If there is a silver lining to this, it's that Mark would not have to fight his good friend Mark Coleman, who ended up winning the entire tournament. As I'm sure you can imagine, Mark Kerr was very vulnerable after this event. So it shouldn't surprise you that just 10 days after this loss, he and Dawn Staples got married in Las Vegas. I think it's easy to judge Mark for that decision. I'm sure even he regrets it. But I think a lot of us can understand wanting to fill the void that loneliness presents. Professionally speaking, the Smashing Machine was now at a crossroads. He could either allow his career to keep sliding downwards.
Two big right hands. Make and break you. Do you still think you have the tools to overcome?
All right. It is late, and I don't want to make my cold any worse, so I'm going to try to get some sleep and take some cough medicine and shit. So, I'm going to go nighty-night. I should be on tomorrow, probably somewhere between 8 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. And sweet dreams. See you all tomorrow.